Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. Boomstick XL. And besides having some really hot topics to fill a 2-hour plus show, I have assembled an awesome panel of superstars to help me break all of that down. First up, we have a gamer whose passion for gameplay over story sets him apart from the rest of the pack. He's an 80s kid who knows a thing or two about pop culture, a Star Wars fan who has the understanding for the reasoning behind the dreaded Empire, but started one of his own because he feels it's better. He's known as the Sesh Empire. He's a community member, not afraid to ruffle feathers. Please welcome So Shady. And So Shady is muted.
He's in the bushes.
He's in the bushes. Okay, well, listen.
Lord, what a way to start the show. What a way to start the show. I'm sorry, it's early. I've baked, but I'm here, and I'm ready to talk games with everybody, man. Boom, that intro rocked. I love it every week. It never gets old. Let's do it.
Well, listen, I definitely appreciate that very much for you being here, as always, because it is early in Canada. Next, we have a gamer whose undying skills in Destiny have no match or no limit. He's our inside man to everything GameStop. He's an incredible father, husband, one heck of a community member, creator of the amazing Gaming Forte YouTube channel, and an integral part to the Basement Radio Arcade podcast, and the reason why everyone wants to be on his team during the Crucible. Please welcome Guardian Forte.
Yo, yeah, man. So the mic is working.
Yes,
we can officially talk mess about all this garbage that's been happening over the course of the whole week.
Wow.
And man, I'm just happy to be back here with you guys. I ain't had no voice in podcasting for like the last 2 weeks. It's kind of been bad. So yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. Can't wait to talk about this stuff.
Well, listen, I definitely appreciate you being here. And of course, your voice is important for whatever show that you're on. I'm glad you fixed the mic situation. Next, we have a creator of the awesome BitCloud Gaming YouTube channel. He's a diehard gamer obsessed with gaming and appreciates the great worlds, characters, and villains he meets in every game he plays. He's the host of the outstanding Real Gamer Talk podcast, co-host to the Gamer Couch podcast, and a permanent member of the Scumcast, as well as the hashtag Spectres. Please welcome back BitCloud Gaming.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the show. Definitely ready to get into these topics. And yes, Boom, I have not forgot my message. You're still on the hook. King, we got some work we got to do.
We definitely do.
Yeah, he did put that in the chat.
Yes. I'm actually looking forward to it. Next, we have someone who has officially made the announcement that he paused his game to be here in the flesh for you live on camera. He's a passionate gamer making passionate content, and you know him as being an outstanding community member, as well as the creator of an amazing YouTube channel. Please welcome back into Breakfast with Boom, FC Violent.
Yes, sir, man. What an intro. Give it up for Boom, everybody. What's going on, guys? Hope you guys are ready. Hope you got your coffee, man. It's gonna be a hell of a show, man. Let's get it.
Yes. Well, listen, we got it. We have one more. We have someone that we have actually royalty in the building. Last and in no way least, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing a lord that exemplifies what it means to be a platinum member. He is the king of statues with more comic book knowledge than an entire comic encyclopedia, a retro gamer who knows a thing about wheeling dealing thanks to our good friend, grandfather from Queens. He's the muscle for Phil Dominus Maximus Spencer, and a dear friend to the community. I call him brother, but you can call him your majesty. Please welcome King David.
Oh, I tell you, it never get tired, never get old. I love it, baby. Woo-hoo. What's going on, guys? I can't wait to dig into this stuff. A lot of stuff has been happening these weeks.
Well, you know what? Listen, I have to admit, the last couple of shows that I've done, there's been unfortunately a ton of Sony news that has not really been positive, to be honest with you. A lot of Death Stranding in the bushes stuff that we're going to talk about later on. Unfortunately, Kojima tried to explain what Death Stranding is and his opinion of the community, and I think that there's a terrible disconnect. I want to break that down because I feel he doesn't really understand his fan base. But I want to open up with a positive topic, one that has me super stoked to talk about. In fact, I believe that I am the only podcast to have brought this up and written an original topic for it. Now, Bluepoint Games, we know who they are. They are the masters of bringing back classics with not only a fresh coat of paint, but everything that you could want a game to look like from the past to be modern. And they basically have teased remakes of classic PlayStation games for the launch of the PlayStation 5. And all I can say is, holy shit, my brain has just exploded, because if I'm right, if my detective skills are as pointy as I believe them to be, PlayStation fans are going to be dancing in the aisles. Now, usually when I do these shows, I write the show notes or the scripts up, days before the show goes live. And normally I run with it, but every now and again, information will break right before a show. And some information broke that not only cements what this topic is going to be about, it really should make anyone that's considering buying a PlayStation 5, and I'm one of those people, and I believe everybody here in this panel will be as well, should be excited. Now, the story I pulled this morning came from Tech Radar. And they actually pulled a story from GameIndustry.biz where Jim Ryan has confirmed that the incoming PlayStation 5 console will have some exclusive games you're not expecting. And of course, again, this comes from Jim Ryan himself, saying that they are in the process of looking to acquire some more first-party studios, but they want to make sure that they cement that their launch, and obviously, if you're going to launch the PlayStation 5 in November or December of next year, we kind of know that they don't have a lot in their back pocket. They kind of shot their load, so to speak, because we're getting all the games, and it makes sense as to why The Last of Us 2 was delayed, right? And it pushed the Japanese sword swinging game, which I cannot wait to play. Ghost of Tsushima is going to be a masterpiece. It seems as if that one was pushed to kind of push the other one to be a launch in the launch window of the PlayStation 5. But let's break down this topic. Now, again, it's no secret that Bluepoint Games is known for remakes of Shadow of the Colossus for the PlayStation 4, and they're working on another game. But there is one. The information that I have was pulled from a tweet that they did on Halloween, and when I read it at first, it didn't click. I had to read it a couple of times to see exactly where they were going. And I will say that there's no arguing. I don't think anyone will disagree that what Bluepoint is able to do on a regular basis is unbelievable. And this is the tweet from Halloween. And the developer had some really interesting things to allude to that every PlayStation fan should be super, super excited. So this is what they had to say. So, calm this spooky night. A symphony of rumors. Not one, but two return from the shadows. A resistance to dart home as black monsters escape twisted hills to wander lands and siphon souls. Filter your candy collections, sort from solid, and be eco-friendly. Have a metal Halloween. Now, hold on, folks. Let me just say this. By reading that out loud, I have goosebumps from my head to my feet. And, that's because what I'm going to talk about next should get everyone hyped. Many that I have spoken to agree with me. And if you read this tweet, and I've read this tweet probably 20 times, they easily point to remakes of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Siphon Filter, Demon Souls, and even Metal Gear Solid, especially about the part have a metal Halloween. Now, none of this is confirmed, obviously, and this is really a speculation kind of a topic. But if you're a PlayStation fan, if you're a classic PlayStation fan, like if you're an older dude like I am and like King is and a few people on this panel that remember getting their PlayStation 1s and playing these classic games that completely blew you away back in the days, could you just sit there and imagine what a PlayStation 5 version of any of these games would look like? If you can't get hyped, check your pulse, dude, because you're probably dead. So I want to go to FC first on this. When you see that tweet, when you read that tweet out loud, and we know that Bluepoint is confirmed to have been working on 2 PlayStation 5 titles, what are your thoughts on the possibility of them being any of the games I just mentioned?
Well, first of all, the tweet is definitely exciting, man. I was just, while you were saying, I was just trying to decipher the code. Like, what are those 2 games most likely to be? I would think a Siphon Filter remake would be awesome because I'm a big fan of that. Not only that series, but just the stealth genre. I feel like because Solid is, because Metal Gear's no more and Splinter Cell's never forever on the shelves. That'd be a great game to bolster not only the PS5 lineup, but just to have back. And that's one thing I'm hoping for. And a Metal Gear, another one. That's gonna be a good game. And I think we spoke off air. Shady was talking about how that game might need a little bit more work than just a remake. But those 2, and you said the other one was the Demon Souls, which I feel like is most likely going to be the case.
Yes,
which is good because there's a lot of Souls fans out there, and I'm a fan of that as well. But for me, I want a Siphon Filter remake, man. That'd be dope. That'd be dope as hell, actually.
Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Wow. If could you imagine a remake of that? Again, it's probably going to be 2D, and that's fine, but I'll take it.
My thing is about that. Like, I'll take it. I think on my show we were debating which one was the better game, Castlevania or Ori. I'm trying to think here. I'm more of a fan of Ori than Castlevania, but if they remake it and make it more modern, then that'd be cool too. More Metrovania, Castlevania type of games is always dope. But for me personally, if I had to choose, I would want Siphon Filter and probably Demon Souls personally.
Nice. Well, those are definitely strong picks. King, I want to go to you on this because you have been very vocal about what we believe Microsoft is going to have for a launch lineup, and we know that it's going to be big, right? The enigma here is Sony. Sony normally is we know years in advance to what they're going to do. That's how they play their game. And we're officially now 12 months away, or 12 or 13 months away from next generation, and we logistically have no idea what they're going to do. What are your thoughts on this tweet? But more importantly, which of the games listed do you want to see there as launch titles for the PlayStation 5 if they don't have their own first party stuff?
Well, I believe that the metal game is Twisted Metal.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a really good. I didn't even think about that. Excellent.
The reason why it fits 2 genres, it fits the racing genre to show off the power of the system, and because that's what we was talking about with Forza for the Scarlet. Every launch of a system needs a racing game to actually show you what it's capable of, frame rate, graphics, speed, stuff of that nature, Twitch handling. So I would go with Twisted Metal. We haven't seen it for a while. It's been out of the limelight. It needs to be back to the forefront. It was one of the staples of PlayStation Nation. I would really want that game. I would like to get some vehicular combat going on with that. And I would really like Jack and Dexter.
That's a good one.
They did Ratchet and Clank, and I didn't think that they expanded how they should have on it. I guess because the movie bombed. If the movie didn't bomb, I think they would have went with Ratchet and Clank 2, and you would have got more of a Pixar style game again. But Jack and Dexter was one of my favorites. I thought it was a good buddy type game. Maybe you can do it a co-op this way, and you can also show the graphical capabilities of the system, and you have that adventure part, and you can also pull in children.
Yes.
So I think if it's my 2 that I'm going to pick, it's going to be the adult and Twisted Metal, and bring back Sweet Tooth and then you're gonna bring back Jack and Dexter to get that old school feel back. If they're gonna go ground based and they wanna to show that they still have the pulse on the community, on the PlayStation community, and they want to indoctrinate some of the new people to the PlayStation brand, I think going completely ground-based old school with some of their super hits is definitely the way to go. And I think those two games would garnish the, and galvanize the base, because right now, there's a little bit of doubt. I got doubt. A lot of people got doubt. You can't not have doubt. But by showing that this new regime, it can go back to the old school to bring it and make it current and make it work. Yeah, that will put the team right. They will be ready. They'll be cheering. They'll have that old PlayStation, chest out. Like we like them. So that's my take on it. Yeah.
No, that's actually a great point. Real quick before I get over to So Shady on this. Ash and Luca in the house. Thank you so much, darling. She drops an outstanding $2 super chat saying, just coming through to drop some love to my guy. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. But of course, the super chat is always amazing. Thank you so much for that. And Cedric H drops an outstanding and very generous $10 super chat. He doesn't have a comment, but we appreciate that you're here supporting the channel each and every week. So Shady, I got to get your opinion on this, because we don't know. Actually, we don't know what either one is going to do, but we have more of an opinion on what we think Microsoft is going to do. At least we know that we're getting Halo Infinite, and we can assume, not to make an ass out of you and me, but we can assume that Forza Motorsport 8 is going to be there because they skipped this year, right? So we know that's going to be a launch title because of exactly what King said. It's going to show off the power of the system in different ways. But with Sony, Sony is the enigma. There's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of people leaving posts that they've been holding for a long time. Jim Ryan is making some big moves. We don't know what they're going to do for the PlayStation 5, but my God, could you just imagine a 2020 version of any of these games? It is an automatic sale for anyone that's a PlayStation fan. What are your thoughts on the possibility of any of these games being brought as launch titles for the PlayStation 5 next year?
Sounds to me like PlayStation has no games.
You could say that publicly and be correct.
That's what a little bit sounds like. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have Ghost of Tsushima. We know nothing else. We can't confirm anything other than Halo on Xbox's side, of course. But if they're going to be pushing remakes and remasters at the beginning of a PlayStation 5 generation, I think that's not the best look, to be honest. I mean, say what you will about the nostalgia factor of a Siphon Filter. I really, really like that franchise, but it's been so long, and it's just another spy military franchise. Other than calling it Siphon Filter for that nostalgia factor, I don't think it needs to be remade. Just make a brand new military spy IP and call it a day. I don't think that's a necessary thing. Storytelling back when the PlayStation 1 was out is different than the storytelling that's happening in games today. So if it's going to be like a 1-to-1, looks better but plays better, but it's the same type of story, same type of dialogue, I don't think it'll translate very well myself. Twisted Metal was fun at the time, but I think it's kind of a hollow experience for today's gamer. They'd have to build a lot. Like, these games need more than a new coat of paint and a little bit tighter controls. I think they're all old. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Konami owns Metal Gear and what do you call it? Castlevania.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be them going to Bluepoint to remake those titles and not Sony? Like, I know Sony owns Demon Souls, so they could do it there.
The thing is this, and you make a lot of point. You make a great point with that. Konami obviously released a bunch of classic collections on all the platforms, and so and from what we're hearing, they did very well. Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, right? Mooch says that all the time. And a lot of people went out and bought them, and maybe it was their way of testing the water. But Sony, because they're in a bit of a pickle, so to speak, with what they're going to do to launch next generation. Maybe they went to Konami and said, "Hey, listen, you guys kind of started your big reign of dominance in the PlayStation era with these particular 2 games, could we license those out from you? And could we bring that back around to Bluepoint? Because Bluepoint notoriously works with Sony. I mean, they do a good job with them, and I think they would do great on these games, even though they're old. I think that if you could bring the type of nostalgia that Metal Gear Solid and Castlevania Symphony of the Night to the PlayStation 5, while still at the same time having like a Ghost of Tsushima and possibly something else in there. My God, what a lineup that would be. And it would
be pretty sweet.
It would sell to the new era of kids buying PlayStation 5s, and it would attract the older generation saying, whoa, I have to get that because I played the originals.
Yeah, I think it could be good, but I think those games are of such an age that they would have to be reworked so much that almost out of name alone and some of the look, they would have to almost be brand new games. They're just so old that even if you put the shiniest of shine onto them, they're still just going to have an old game building, like just the way the game is built, the way the story is delivered, everything about it is very old. It's like the very first 3D generation we're talking here.
Mm-hmm.
Gaming has come a long way since then, and not just in looks and everything. So I think it'd be an uphill battle, but if they could pull it off.
Don't you think the Twisted Metal can take what was that game that everybody hated from Microsoft that was supposed to have all the huge Crackdown, all the destructibility that Crackdown is supposed to have, and you can just tear that world up.
I think so. I think Twisted Metal would be the easiest one to bring to upgrade all around. Right. You just give it modern graphics, modern destructibility, and you call it Twisted Metal. But I think that would be easier to translate into today's gaming, where something like Metal Gear Solid, gosh, that would take a complete rework. Thing with Siphon Filter, just a total overhaul, huge. Like at least on the level of that Resident Evil 2 remake, it would have to be at least something like that for these to truly work, I think. But Twisted Metal, I believe, would be the easiest to do and probably the most appealing. There really isn't a hardcore car combat genre anymore. It's sort of disappeared.
It did. It died, and I thought they lost the niche, but they was doing it too much. They drag it through the ground. When they put the guy that was in between holding the wheels together, the giant.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
I said they lost their mind. I think that was the point when I was
jumped
like,
the shark.
Jump the shark a little bit. Yeah, I always liked Vigilante 8 myself when it came to that type
Vigilante
of game.
8 was actually pretty good. Actually, really good. You know what? I actually, Twisted Metal Black is personally my favorite of them all. I thought that's
when they did the remake and when it came back, right?
They did the remake after Black, after Twisted Metal Black, and the remake bombed. It bombed for them, and that's a shame because that's a classic franchise. It's funny because we have iDizzy81 in the chat, and he had actually, I have to read his chat just because he made me laugh. He said he's going to laugh when it's Soul Reaver remake and not Metal Gear Solid. And I'll have to be honest with you.
I like Soul Reaver.
I'll take Soul Reaver too,
I'll take Soul Reaver.
I think everybody on this panel will take Soul Reaver.
Was dope.
Crazy.
So
I would definitely take that.
I hope you're well, dude. And thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you hanging out. Real quick, before I get to BitCloud on this, I have to say a big thank you to Elemental P. Drops outstanding $5 super chat. He says, "Good morning, panel. Do you think both camps will have strong third-party support as opposed to first-party at launch?" I think they both have to. I think they both absolutely have to, and I think they're both jockeying for position right now to see what second-party exclusive deals that they could line up to say that the best way to play is on this side over here. I think they're working that angle right now. But BitCloud, I want to get your opinion on this because obviously this is as big a tease from Bluepoint, who normally doesn't tweet stuff out. This came out of left field. It surprised a lot of people. I was actually surprised as a content creator that no one else kind of picked up on this. No one was talking about this, and I don't understand why, especially if you are a classic PlayStation fan like myself. I mean, for crying out loud, I beat the Japanese Final Fantasy VII with the help of, back in the days, we had to print out the guide because there was no real internet. It was terrible back in the day.
the gold.
And I beat it again on the when it came out for America. I loved my PlayStation original. I mean, there's so many great games, and every game on this list has me getting goosebumps What are your thoughts on the trickery of Bluepoint and their wording? And are you excited for any of the games listed?
Yeah, you have another super chat.
Yes, I'll go with G-Man 209 with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, "Hi, Boom. I'm dating myself, but does King David remind anyone of Isaac Hayes?" Yes, he does.
Yo,
Like Rick
G-Man.
Ross.
Yo, my pops looks like Isaac Hayes. And it's funny that you say that because I was looking at some album covers. Yeah, I'm dating myself. I was looking at some album covers and I came across the one where he's laid out like Michael Jackson with the brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, he says he's a huge fan of both men. I want to continue that. So thank you for that super chat. But getting back to the question, Big Cloud, what are your thoughts on this, dude?
All right, so Demon Souls, I can see that happen for sure. Easy.
Right.
Yeah, most likely.
Siphon Filter for sure, because I remember I did a video a while back. They renewed the trademark for it a while back, and I do think that might actually happen. So that's possible. I'm actually leaning towards what King said when it came to Twisted Metal, because that actually makes more sense when it comes to their lineup. That's kind of a game a lot of people been asking for. They want that crazy, hectic type of car racer. They want that type of stuff. Jack and Daxter, that is definitely a given. We definitely want to see that again, though I'm not sure if we will. Well, actually, we could because, again, Naughty Dog pretty much greenlit that they had it a while back. Back when they said it, I don't know if y'all remember that IGN interview they had when they were live, and they said that they have Crash and Jack back a while back, and people were like, "Oh my god, they just spoiled it." It's like, no, we don't have it. It's like, nah, y'all got it. So they got that. There was one particular game that I'm surprised none of y'all talked about in terms of coming back though. A couple of days ago, actually a couple of weeks ago, Sony's one of Sony's studios tweeted this out. They said, "Press F for respect to Resistance 2."
Really?
I
am shocked that nobody caught on to that.
I was gonna get into that.
They literally said that. They said
yeah.
Press F to pay respects to Resistance 2. I can see Resistance 2 getting a rehaul, or better yet, complete revival.
Dude,
listen,
2. I beat the original Resistance.
Loved it.
About 10 effing. I loved that game. My God, I missed that. Wow, dude, that's what a great add to this story. I missed that.
No,
y'all forget it. Those you got to look at this. You got to look at this.
Game is possible. That's highly possible right now because of the new acquisition at the head of
shock value, right?
Yeah,
that's a big shock value.
Well, that's funny you should say that, because if there's one thing that Sony is really good at, it's that shock value that you're talking about.
Yes, that is definitely the shocker that they need. It's crazy though. The first one, I love the style of the first one over the second one, like the way they told the story with the narration.
Yeah,
I like that a lot more. It felt more engaging. The second one, it was cool, but you can clearly tell they just was kind of going to the full sci-fi.
Yes,
it was like, I'm still liking the game, but I kind of miss the audio from the chick from the first one. So
yeah,
that's what I miss. But that's a good one to bring back for sure. I'm trying to think what else would they bring. You guys said Metal Gear Solid.
Yes,
Metal Gear Solid, possibly. Again, possibly they could get this going. The thing is, though, again, it would be in the same bind, right? There was just Resident Evil 2 was in. It would have to legit be revived and like redone for the current modern gamer today. And it would have to just be, up to speed. So I'm talking, they would probably have to create a whole new engine just for this game to get it up to par up there and add new features. I do think it will work, but at the same time, I'm wondering if it's even worth it at this point to do that. And just not even waste your resources on that and go with something else. Like, for example, there was the House of the Dead thing that's going on right now in Japan. And we're still waiting for that. Because y'all imagine they commissioned Bluepoint. Because remember, I don't know if y'all heard, they literally just came out with a new light gun for TVs.
It just launched, and it looks dope.
It looks dope. Because you guys imagine Bluepoint making House of the Dead?
As a matter of fact, House of the Dead 1 and 2 actually is being remade as we speak. It's coming out in 2020. I did a story a couple of weeks ago.
We did cover that.
Yes. So they're redoing the original Panzer Dragoon. I believe it's a Switch exclusive right now, and that is dope.
So move that aside. How about Time Crisis?
Dude, sign me up right now. Virtual.
There you go. We go Time Crisis.
No, you know what? Listen, as long as it's in VR, all right.
Yeah, I think that'll be a given because that's kind of like one of the main focuses too is VR, and they got a second one they're working on now. So I do believe that they probably would do that.
That would be dope. Sign me up.
It would be great.
PlayStation VR.
Yeah, it would be great if they can give you some like this little wireless thing that you can put on your foot that you can reload your gun. Like you step on the floor.
Dope. I love it. Can you imagine that with the new haptic trigger feedback with the new controllers that we're going to get, where you can feel the actual bullets, or are you pulling the clip out the gun?
Oh, you giving me a real light gun?
Yeah. I'll feel that type of stuff with the haptic trigger feedback. A lot of cool stuff they can do with this. Like it's cool.
I can't wait.
I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. Sony's got a lot of just bangers they got in the vault.
I put it this way: it's very exciting. If you were already excited because you're a PlayStation fan because of what they've done in this generation, you're like, yes, rah PlayStation 5 all the way. And with the information that we're talking about, the old nostalgia we're bringing up, man, this gets me really hyped for a PlayStation 5. You know what? I want to get gaming. First of all, someone dropped the super chat in here. Sir X-Men, thanks for being here, dude. He drops an outstanding $2 super chat. He says, and these are two really good ones. He wants Colony Wars, which was dope, and G Police or new Assault Rigs. Assault Rigs, I don't remember for some reason. That's weird. I don't know. I play everything, but a Gaming Forte. I want to get your opinion on this because you see. You have had a lot to say, and unfortunately, your mic has literally choked you out. So now that you've choked your mic out and you're back to normal, we're going to hear what you have to say on this. First of all, there's a lot to be excited in 2020. Besides the big games, we have two massive consoles coming out. And again, Sony's the Enigma, but with all of the old back catalog they can go to, and the fact that they have Bluepoint pretty much in their back pocket, anything is possible. Of the games that we discussed, what would you like to see as a PlayStation 5 launch title brought back from the PS1 days?
Oh man, you guys hit on so many of the different things. Ryan, you actually got it out before I could because I was thinking the same thing when we talked about Resistance. I was like, God dang it, Ryan. Yeah, man.
We got to cover news, sir. I was all over that.
No, I bet you just hoping like, please nobody say it. But no, man, that's one of them because that's like one of the most underrated franchises that I played on PS3. I enjoyed. I even played it on the Vita. It was enjoyable on that system as well. The biggest thing is I think a lot of people have a lot of good points about different things. Metal Gear, I feel like does need a huge rehaul, but let's not forget that they did do a remaster when they did the HD collection for PS3 and 360. They didn't change the mechanics of the whole game. They just brought it up to current spec when it came to the graphical fidelity of the game. So I would think people would even enjoy just something like that. I mean, even if Konami decided to let something like that happen, I think it's more of a commitment to a long-term investment to bring the whole franchise back up to spec. So it's not going to be just one game. It will be, let's start this journey with Bluepoint to actually remaster the whole franchise to get them up to speed when it comes to that. So it will probably just be more just bringing everything up to code like they did the original games on the 360 and PS3. Twisted Metal is by far the easiest one that they can definitely do. When they say Halloween and metal and all this other stuff, or I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely that's the first thing I thought about was Metal Gear. And I'm not Metal Gear, it was Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal Black and just playing all those games. I remember how excited people were when they were bringing that on the PS3 and it was just a lot of excitement around that. And a lot of people just haven't played those games. You know, we keep thinking that, you know, gaming is we're on the top of gaming, but there's so many people that are jumping into gaming on a day-to-day basis, week to week, minute by minute. And anything to get these people off of Fortnite and off of Apex Legends and get them playing other stuff, just to know like, hey, there's other things out there other than just these games, would be something really good. Me personally, Siphon Filter. The one reason I like Siphon Filter so much is because
I'm on a Siphon train.
I haven't found a espionage tactical game that has stealth elements that have really appealed to me since the original Splinter Cells and stuff. You know, we had games like Thief and stuff that was way too stealthy and it was boring as hell to play because all you were doing it was like almost a failed mechanic if you ran into two people and you really couldn't get yourself out of situations. I think Dishonored did the best when it came to that because it was more of an action stealth game. You could play however you wanted to. But that's the only games over the last generation that I can even say gave you that type of feeling where you felt like you could play it how you want to, outside of like the Hitman games and stuff. But one game that I know Sony people and a lot of Sony people and my man BG, Broken Games will love this. I need them to finally bring back SOCOM in some.
Yes,
dude. Because the one thing that Sony is always. What they're missing? What's the one thing on their system?
Online multiplayer.
Online multiplayer shooting game. And SOCOM on PS3 is as bad as SOCOM 4 was. It was an enjoyable game that wasn't available anywhere else. They didn't have like even Xbox didn't have a third person tactical shooter. That was Gears of War, and that was based in fantasy, where SOCOM had a little bit of realistic. You know, it was a little realistic to it.
But the thing with that is, going up against a lot of the juggernauts that they have out right now, right? Like you said, the Fortnites and the Apex Legends and the PUBGs, and then you got to look at all the other ones that are coming out that we're going to talk about today. You have to say they could probably have it on deck now. They could have probably had it on deck since the beginning. But once Fortnite hit and once all these other games started hitting, where do you slot it in? You look like Bleeding Edge now because I'm looking for a space for Bleeding Edge to get slid in, and you're trying to figure out at what is the opportune time that we can launch this title so it can reach its apex,
it can stretch its wings a little bit,
don't get crushed. So you are banking on the nostalgic aspect of us older gamers to stick to the SOCOM, and I love SOCOM. I was up at night because that's the only time you can actually get really good matches at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning where nobody was eating up your internet. Because remember, we was all chewing off the same line.
We was all dial up back then.
So exactly, nobody pick up the phone and mess up your match. So now you just got to figure out how do we slot it in. And they probably really have it sitting there, and it's probably been sitting there for a second. They probably have to retouch the graphics every now and again, or it's probably scalable. And if it's going to launch, how does it launch? Does it launch free to play? Does it launch with a subscription type of based thing? How does it launch?
That's a good point. Good point.
If you're scared of the new thing now is engagement, right? And before we found out about the game and it became a cult classic, this genre now is so niche in the sense that once a kid gets a hold of it, they stick to it. And then whoever their friends are is aligned with it. Now, if you can get it on Twitch or Mixer or any other of these streaming sites, then it starts to take flight. And once it takes flight, you hope it takes off. But you're going up against juggernauts here. We thought did you see what happened with when they shut off Fortnite and they was launching Fortnite 2? The world.
Everybody's watching a black hole.
Everybody's looking at
people having tantrums. You see some of those videos? Yeah. Kids breaking TVs.
Like, what is this?
Beating down their parents.
You're about to do that guy banned permanently because he was cheating. He was a Fortnite.
Which I think
Phase or something like that. Phase.
Phase.
He's from Phase.
Phase. Something Starts with a J, right?
I think it was Jay then, yeah.
Yeah, J for jerk for cheating.
Yeah.
No, here's the funny thing.
Yeah, he
That's why I
shouldn't have
lost
cheated.
respect for
Yeah.
Ninja. Ninja came to his defense saying that, there should be separate rules for
I saw that.
Twitch
That's
streamers
ridiculous.
Yeah,
All right,
who
all
are
right.
higher
let's-
pro. I'm like, what do you mean? There's
Cheating is cheating, folks. That's
Well,
cheating.
let's not misconstrue what Ninja was saying. It wasn't that he's not against them banning him for cheating. He's against somebody being banned for life for something that they made a mistake in.
Well, the biggest one is that if you're a nobody,
it is a mistake. It is a mistake.
No, he streamed it, bro.
No,
They made a
when I mean
He streamed
mistake, you got people that you're basically taking the kids' livelihood away at that point.
Mhm.
The biggest thing is if a person, an NFL player, can go out and rape somebody and get suspended in NFL for a whole year. They don't tell him he can't come back and play football. This person, yes, he cheated in Fortnite, but the crime doesn't fit the punishment. They literally in the World Championships, they caught somebody cheating when money was involved. And guess what they got?
2 weeks.
You got a month ban?
Yeah, they got a month ban on that one. Yes.
They banned this kid for a year for cheating in a non-competitive part of the game. So I'm not saying that it's wrong, and I think that's what Ninja was saying. It's not wrong that you're doing it. I just feel like it needs to be more of a checks and balances. Like if you're going to ban this guy, ban him for a year. Ban him for
I agree.
He can't do anything like that because that might still end his career ultimately. But at least the person has a chance to come back, because if we get banned on Xbox Live, guess what? Xbox bans us for like a month. We come back to our account. That kid can never play on his account.
Fortnite.
You talking about Blizzard type bans out here? That's
basically
the ban hammer,
the epic ban
hammer,
the ban hammer Thor out here.
The big one is that he's a content creator, and he wasn't cheating to cheat to win. He was making the video to be like, let's have a look at what using an aimbot looks like, everybody, because he's got a huge YouTube channel, right? So he was just like, let's have a look and have some laws and see what's what. That's not good. Like Epic got involved because they don't want that type of shit promoted. They don't want all the 9 and 10-year-olds going, "Oh, that looks sweet," and then downloading the aimbot. Yeah. So I understand them getting upset. And Ninja talking about how there should be different rules is that if I were to do this and get banned from Fortnite, it doesn't matter. I'll just make a new account and play Fortnite in 10 minutes. I'm back on. This human being was banned. So if he makes another account as a content creator, they know what that new account is, and they'll just ban it again and ban it again and ban it again. He's not allowed to play like as a human, not just his account. And and then the difference is I'm not making any money. Like it's not a lifestyle for me. I'm not making money off it. It's just a game. He's making 6 figures a month. So it's kind of hard to feel sorry for him, but it is his livelihood, and to ban him for life for this is severe. So on one hand, it sounds like, asshole to be like, we need different rules for different people. Life's not fair. But the situation isn't a regular situation.
I say this, right? I say this to your point. He's making 6 figures a month. He can hire a good lawyer. That's
he could.
Yeah. Well, listen, what I'd like to do is I kind of just want to bring this back around because we totally to the left.
Fortnite, man.
Right now, we got a flat tire.
I would say he's got 2 million. He's got 2 million subscribers, right? He's got an easy transition. He can transition to any game he wants. So really, he's not really lost anything. He can play. No,
if he picks something back up, he's definitely going to be fine, especially if you're making 6 figures. But real quick, finish your point, brother.
No, I was going to say my point on the whole. We completely went left for a second, but the whole point on what Sony and what with Bluepoint and everything, I just think, like you said, where are they going to put it? Where would something like that be put? Guess where they could put it? They could put it in something like PSN Now.
I would love that. That's what I was going for.
Yeah,
that's the like. If a game like Destiny can be put into a free-to-play market, because guess what? Arena shooters aren't the most popular thing anymore.
No, they're played out.
You put it into a service where a person has a chance to play it at a very low entry point, and they have the ability to play other things around that. It becomes more appealing. Why you think? Okay, Halo's going to sell regardless. It's going to sell at $60. It's going to sell Game Pass subscription services too. But guess what? It's going to do that. It's going to thrive because it's in a service that allows you to play the game however you want to play it. And that's just what the model for this type of thing is. So Sony just needs to go ahead and just think like, hey, once we find that window of opportunity to drop something like that, drop it in and take advantage of that situation, because you never know what people gravitate to. Epic did not know Fortnite was going to be what it was. If they knew this, they wouldn't have released the Save the World part of the game first. They would have started out the gate with this. It just happened to blow up in their face, and there's like, wow.
They had no choice but to expand, yeah.
To be honest with you, I thought the controversy around the title helped elevate it a whole lot faster than normally a game of that nature would have been elevated. The whole PUBG thing, remember, PUBG was so hot. And that the fact that everybody's like, well, what's this game that stole PUBG's whatever, and some people touched it to look at it to see, and then you got hooked,
And to Epic's credit, once they saw that needle shooting north, they dropped everything.
Yeah, they did. I would have dropped it too if I was if I was making money off that game. Well, listen, all I want to say is this has been a pretty damn awesome opening topic for the show.
It's one little thing to that.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Do y'all think they should? Y'all remember that game Warframe? That's on PS4.
I love
it. Think they should treat it like Warframe, build it up like that. If they was to throw it in there.
They could. They certainly could.
Free to play if you had PS Plus.
Yeah. I want everything to be in PS Now. I want PS Now to be Game Pass.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, thanks to Jim Ryan's line in the sand, that is going to be an epic topic on Monday evenings primetime gaming, because I think it's the first huge mistake of Jim Ryan's Sony career in that position, and I think it's going to hurt them, because if you read the article, and I'm going to read the article verbatim on Monday evening, he has really dug his heels, and he's not budging on, and I think it's a boob move, and I think it's going to cost Sony at the end of the day.
But what I like to do,
never say never, man.
I think he's talking in the now and for PlayStation 4. I think PS5.
Yeah, never say never, man. He never said never.
8:00 p.m. on Monday night.
Yeah, Monday evening. Yes.
See, that's the problem. Boom. I'm sleeping at that time because I got to get up and go to work at 12 o'clock midnight. And that topic definitely needs my voice. That's the problem, Boom. That's the problem.
I apologize for it, but listen, no more. We have a lot of topics that you're gonna talk about today. I want to move on to the next one. But before I do, Sir X-Men drops an additional $2 super chat. So thanks so much for being here, and of course the generosity. He throws 2 more games into the mix, which I have to read because they're amazing. Tenchu and Bloody Roar, 2 amazing.
Oh boy, you crazy?
You crazy coming up with that stuff. I'll take them both. In fact, I'll take every game that everyone. Listen, you know what? You don't have to release a new game for the PlayStation 5 for 5 years. Just give me all of what we talked about in 2020 graphics, and I am there. But I want to talk about a game,
dude. Bloody Roar with a Tekken engine. Holy shit!
I have no idea what it would look like, but I'm going to tell you about a game that unfortunately is not going to be at the PlayStation 5 launch, and it's disappointing. It's heartbreaking, and if anyone could get on their lump of coal or their soapbox or their totem pole and talk about a game, it's me, because Horizon Zero Dawn, for me, I have been championing this game since its release, since we saw it back all the way in 2015 when they showed it at Sony's E3. I love Aloy as a character. I love the world. I'm an old school G1 Transformers guy, so of course all the robot dinosaurs, obviously remind me of the of Transformers and the Dinobots, and I just loved everything about Horizon Zero Dawn. And I have to be honest, up until I pulled this story, I was willing to put money on the fact that Guerrilla Games will in fact have Horizon Zero Dawn 2 ready to go at launch. And unfortunately, I would have lost. In a story that I pulled, Horizon Zero Dawn not only has been confirmed, but with a recent job posting, it's super exciting to know that it is a thing, but it's also disappointing at the same time. Now, this story I pulled from Game Rant, one of my favorite sites to get stories from. And in this job posting, it suggests that it's basically confirming that there is a sequel. What it's also confirming, though, is the specific job posting is for a technical vegetation artist. And it says a team member who will be developing the different kinds of foliage that drapes over the open world. Vegetation, which is, it was amazing because the vegetation, and again, maybe that's boring talk for other people, but I thought it was amazing in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, they want it to be more like...
they want it to be more lifelike. And the vegetation was... well, the vegetation was a large part of the first game's stealth and combat mechanics that worked directly with Horizon Zero Dawn's weapons. So this point in this conversation, it saddens me because if they're looking for this type of artist, meaning that the artist has yet to this job posting just dropped, which means that the game is in no way, shape, or form close to being done. And I would love to say in my heart of hearts that yes, they have 12 months to get this game ready. But if they're looking for an artist that's going to be doing the foliage for the entire game, the chances are it's not going to be ready. And that again, this is what alludes me to believe that Sony might have painted themselves into a bit of a corner for the next generation, releasing all of these games towards the end of the PlayStation 4 life cycle. Now, anyone, again, it's, what stands out for me anyway in the Guerrilla's position posting is how specifically it mentions World of Horizon. And as a focus of the position, currently there are no more DLC expansions expected for the original Horizon Zero Dawn. They had the one in the snow, which was fantastic. If you have not played it and you're a fan of that game, you could probably pick it up super cheap. I would definitely urge you to do that. But we have to understand that there is no more DLC coming to that game. The game's a little bit old, and I get it. But there is some current content that has me very excited. Apparently, there's some rumored PlayStation VR adaptation for Horizon Zero Dawn, which I think is really dope. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that could be. But here's my question to the panel. There is no doubt that when Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is released, it's going to sport unbelievable graphics and push the PlayStation 5 to its current limits. What are your thoughts on the PlayStation exclusive, and are you disappointed that it will not show up as a PlayStation 5 launch title? King, I want to go to you first on this, but before I do, I have to thank iDizzy81 with the outstanding $5 super chat. He says, glad to be here to listen this morning, but boom, I need to remind you, King O Savnees. Great show, great listen. Thanks for your community. King, that's why I went to you first, because I know you have to address iDizzy in the chat with the knees comment, but then I want to know what you think about Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
Dizzy is our
resident troublemaker.
No, actually, he's the editor-in-chief right now. He's just on amends.
Yes.
Right now. So that's my editor checking in on me, making sure that I'm not out of pocket. And he's reminding me that he's going to use a swipe card on the PlayStation 5. That's all. Thank you, sir, for being here. And chin up, sir. Chin up. If you'd have had me bet, I would have took that bet day and date that you said that. I knew for sure that game wasn't going to be released early on in the cycle. We have to understand, guys, this is a business. So early on, you're going to get a lot of let's see what sticks type of games first. So when I tell you Twisted Metal, let's see what type, let's see if it sticks, if it can catch on. You're not going to take some of your sure hitters, your heavy hitters, and put them in launch. And the reason why you don't do that, if you're going through their model, and their model is the old school model, which as you launch a game, it gains steam and it pushes forward. I'm pretty sure that God of War could have came out a whole lot earlier in its life cycle of the PlayStation 4, but they waited until they had enough units out there to get at least 1% of the base. All right, because if you say that they have 100 million plus systems out there and they only sell 10 million, you got 1% of your base, purchasing the game. All right, and that's really not good. So how can we get that engagement number, that number higher? Now the old school model would be do what they're doing right now. Tell the game is in development, it's coming, we're working on grass. They're probably a little bit more along than grass guys. All right, they'll probably have the world mapped out. They pretty much have a lot of things that they want to have done. The storyline is mapped out. They're probably looking how they're going to work certain things. And they're probably even working on DLC right now as we speak for the game and just finishing up the finishing touches on certain aspects of the game. The game is pretty long, more than you think. But it would not be prudent to launch that game when you have a 0 install base. All right, because you want to have it, you can say like the Switch did a great job with Zelda, and it was the availability of the Switches and the marketing of the Nintendo that actually got those Switches out there, and it was selling on a 1-to-1 basis. Sometimes it was like a 2-to-1, which is really weird. Doesn't make any sense to me, but people was probably buying one as a collector's edition and one to play, right? We turned into collectors now, right? So this aspect is, if you're going with that same model, Sony would have to put that game on the back burner because it's a sure enough hit that you at least to have 20 to 25 million systems out there first before you launch that game. Right now, if you're going with a Game Pass type of model, you launch the game at any time, any person that's inside the ecosystem, it will be a new game and it will be engagement, and you're looking at it in a different aspect of it, right? So you have to change the mind of the board. The mind of the board at Sony hasn't been changed yet. So don't look for all these bangers to be at release. Don't look for God of War. Don't look for Spider-Man. Don't look for Zero Horizon Dawn. Don't look for those bangers that you want at release. You're going to get old school retro games that they're trying to bring back. They're trying to get to
titles
to hit. So look for that. So I didn't expect that boom. I didn't expect it to be there, and I do want it to cultivate a little bit more. To let it cook a little bit more. I wasn't a fan of the first one, to be honest with you. It was a gorgeous looking game. It was boring. It put me to sleep. I thought Anchorman was lying. I played the game and I found myself falling asleep with the controller in my hand. I didn't finish the game, so I never got a chance to see the snowboard that you're talking about. But for anybody that thinks I'm a PlayStation hater, which I'm not, I have more PlayStation stuff than probably 95% of all of y'all. It's just that certain aspects of games that are told it's supposed to be an action game, right?
Right.
But it didn't lend to more of the action stuff like God of War. God of War is an action game and played exactly like that with a story-based narrative. This wasn't, it's open world. God of War isn't open world. So if you're trying to tell a story in an open world game that's trying to be action based, you have to have triggers to make it push you forward. And I didn't think it had those triggers for me. So I really don't, like the game. Hopefully part 2 will be a whole lot better.
I agree with you.
Benchmark, I would say, for sure.
No, absolutely. Bill Cloud, let me go to you on this, because obviously you're super stoked to talk about this, and I'm not sure whether you loved it as much as I do. But before I get your opinion, I have to thank LMNOP again for the outstanding $5 super chat. He says having a Horizon Zero Dawn 2 would have helped in Sony's efforts to transition faster to the next generation. Isn't that their agenda? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm disappointed. I'm going to sit here and tell you, I thought, listen, I got to be honest with you. I don't think Guerrilla Games ever goes back to Killzone. If they do, I think someone in the chat said they have 2 teams there now at Guerrilla Games, and if that in fact is the case, then maybe they kind of go back to reinvent the wheel with Killzone, because Killzone's a great franchise. It's just the way it was always
didn't catch a
structured.
break. That's
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't like it. But what are your thoughts on Horizon Zero Dawn 2? Are you disappointed that it's not going to be there at the beginning? Do you agree with King that it's something that they would hold back?
Wait, did they confirm that it's not like the Sony?
They didn't confirm that but they barely confirmed that it was even a thing.
Yeah, that's kind of the homage. Remember, we saw this with Crash Bandicoot, though. You think about it. Remember, they didn't confirm a thing. They had us believing that it was not coming at all, right? And
that's true. No, you're
shown.
right.
I will say,
make that though.
yeah, I will say that it will be great to see it for sure. That's one of the games that I've been hyped for. Exactly. The fact that they're focused on vegetation means that stealth is definitely going to be a priority this time around. So stealth will definitely be improved. Maybe they'll make the creatures a lot more aggressive and have better AI in that regard, where you need stealth in general to take them out, like critical hits. So that's probably something they're trying to do. Horizon Zero Dawn, again, it's probably not going to be for everybody. Like, a lot of people might not like it. It is a gorgeous game. It still is a gorgeous looking game. I platinumed the game. I went all out and just won, I enjoyed it that much. I did enjoy it. So to see a sequel, yeah, I would like to see that. And I think it could happen because, again, this hasn't been ruled out. And you have to take into account that maybe they immediately started working on this after the release, after the reception. So hard to say if it's not going to happen, if that's there. As far as God, I'm trying to think. You said, do I agree with King, right? Like, hold it back for the install base. I would say yes, depending on what they have available at the time, because you need a massive seller. And Ghost of Tsushima is more than likely going to be that. They're going to copy what they did with PS3 with The Last of Us. Yeah, I remember they ended with a new IP. So it makes sense to follow that formula and end this gen with the new IP, which is Ghost of Tsushima. So they followed that same format. It could come later. I ain't gonna lie, it could come later. It could be like
maybe they wait till they have 10 million units out in the wild.
Yeah, like when like 5-10 million units hit, it'll be right there. Like, remember Order 1886 dropped? It was like 10 million already.
I love that game, by the way. A lot of people didn't like it. I really, really enjoyed it. Still some of the best graphics on the PlayStation 4.
Potential. Yep. It's got potential to be something greater.
Gameplay, take it or leave it. It's the same werewolf every time. Not so good.
Looked like a movie.
It did.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember the werewolf transformations.
Yeah,
some of the best werewolf transformations on a game. Period. It's
can I ask you a question? Because I've seen a lot of games after that, and I've always said it. That game had such a look. It had such a
natural, right?
Yes, the ambiance of the game, the atmosphere of the game, the muzzle flashes, the facial expressions, to be that early on in the cycle of the PlayStation 4.
Pop and their joints sever when they turn into where I'm like, dude, why aren't like third-party developers taking advantage of that type of stuff?
What's going on?
It was incredible. Even when you remember when the dude turned into the Elder? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. When dude turned not to the regular werewolves, where they're like mindless beasts and attack. I'm talking about when he turned into the Elder and he was like full conscious, where he was sinister.
Yes.
You could smell him. He was looking around. That's the type of detail I want every single werewolf if we ever get them. That's the type of stuff you need. That's how epic it was, and it has potential to be so much more. Like they could have had Van Helsing in this game in a sequel. Could y'all imagine that with the teaser at the end? Because remember, he's rogue.
Yes.
Come out of nowhere and say, "Hey, look, I'm offering you a job since you're mortal now." You know what I'm saying? He's mortal now. He doesn't have the Holy Grail, which I like the twist of the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail, there's a reason why you serve it. You get eternal life.
I thought it was gonna be their Gears, to be honest with you. I thought that
it had the potential to do it with the cover,
like
the
horde
cover
mode,
and everything.
Not multiplayer, but a horde mode would be sick. Like you guys with a bunch of friends, and you're just like, remember that Paris scene?
You're gonna make me play that game today.
The master of the tangent. I thought we were talking about ACZ.
Oh no. I'm talking about that Order 86, man. That game has so much potential. Like if y'all had a horde mode and just like 4 friends, all you guys just surviving waves of like, let's say regular enemies, and then it will transition to like bosses with the werewolves, and then it will mix it up with vampires.
Man, listen.
Could be dope. Definitely dope. But real quick, I want to go to FC Violent on this. I don't know if you're like, again, I don't know if you like Horizon Zero Dawn, but I honestly really, I'm telling you, man, I was like, this has got to be a lock for the PlayStation 5. It's going to sell boatload. I think everyone's going to walk out of the store with that game, and it's not going to be there apparently because there's no way you can look for an artist of that's going to have that magnitude of importance and have the game ready in 12 months. It's just not going to happen. So I've come to the realization that I was completely wrong, and that's fine because I know I'm getting Horizon Zero Dawn 2, and that in itself is awesome. What are your thoughts on it? Are you disappointed that it could? I mean, again, I could be wrong. It could be a launch title, but I doubt it. What are your thoughts on Horizon Zero Dawn 2? Are you excited for it?
Am I excited for it? Not really.
Okay, that's fair.
I didn't like the first game because, like King said and like Slow Mo said in the chat, it's a boring game for me, man. It's the pacing is slow. The questing. The main thing I have an issue with is if you have, I guess from The Witcher 3, if you had side quests and the side quest is so boring that you just stop halfway through trying to get there, like that. That's the major problem that I have with Horizon Zero Dawn. The combat's all right. I mean, the stealth part's cool. The game is beautiful, but I couldn't finish it, man. I didn't get to the snow part either, man.
A lot of people did.
I wanted to. I bought the DLC, but I stopped. I may revisit it, but about what you're saying about the whole grass thing, I didn't even know about that. So that's new information. I had to disagree with King, man. If you don't have, how could you make I guess a level without the foliage in that level? Like it would be kind of hard to. You know what I mean? It would just be it'd be like an empty world.
No, I'm not saying that they're not gonna have the foliage.
You said like they only worked in the game. Here's a box.
No,
I check off.
I said that.
You know what I mean? No foliage.
They're giving misinformation on purpose. To
virtual fighter 2D and shit.
Flat shaded polygons.
Exactly. All polygons.
They just letting you know. See, they like to tip their hand to you, letting you know we're working on this to keep you enthused. How do you keep an idiot in suspense? Just be quiet.
That's true. But another thing I want to say, like, shout out to the Big Cloud. He mentioned how Sony kind of follows the same model they did last gen with ending on a new IP. But they also, like last gen, they also start their launches off very, very slowly.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like they're gonna do the exact same thing again.
Yeah, that's how it always be. Slow burners, then they pick up steam, then they drop consistently. Microsoft kind of goes all out and then lose steam.
But the difference here is like Microsoft's launching with Halo, and also another difference is like how King was talking about how you for Sony they want to save their big hitters until they get an install base. But with Scarlet they'll already have an install base because you could play that on the X. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a little bit different, and I guess two different strategies, but I didn't see that happening because I just go by history. Sony's going to start off slow. They usually always do.
They usually do. Yeah, even the PlayStation 3 era, they were slow.
Yeah, super slow.
This new globalized mindset they got now. Because remember they switched it all up. Remember how they were separating branches with different strategies? Pick one. Now it's literally one company, one
across
mind,
multiple regions,
one voice, one thought, and that's the future. And they're like really like doing stuff. And one thing Jim Ryan did say in the past, though, he's all about more games, and this is something that Sean Layden was kind of against. I remember that Sean Layden wanted games for each particular quarter, so one game.
But that one mind, one world, one Earth thing.
I'm like, Planet?
I know it's against their mindset because remember they had exclusive. Right? Each particular brand was responsible for their each particular exclusive, so that's the weird part behind it.
But I think this is out of necessity of what I keep telling people, and they're not looking at the whole big picture. When you're starting to sell something, you're consolidating.
Yeah,
you're bringing it in, you're bringing it closer because if not you want to make it pleasing to the potential buyer, right? So if they see too many webs out there, they're like, I don't know, so you make sure that you clean your stuff up, right? So you're like,
you're the stuff that don't sell and the brand just like will bring you down.
So when they were firing people not too long ago without even giving anybody a warning what
6
was going
weeks
down.
of madness.
Oh, dude, you're
in
gonna
Sony.
love what I got in store for the channel, King. I got Mr. Gio Corsi coming through for the channel.
Oh, thanks.
Nice,
on,
dude.
I think he's coming through on Thanksgiving, so he's
Nice.
out with the family, with his wife, vacation.
Yes.
Obviously, he deserves the vacation. So obviously, when he gets back,
Yeah.
we're going to talk
that's a big
about
get,
this.
dude.
But
That's
one
a-
thing I wanted to ask him, because remember, again, globalization, right, King?
Right.
Do you think, and this is a question I'm gonna ask you guys before I ask him this, but do y'all think that maybe Sony turned down a handheld? That's probably why he left.
No.
Because when you think about it. He was all about pushing the Vita.
Right.
And there's been tons of people talking about Vita. There were tons of supposed not necessarily demos or anything like that, but it's in the R&D department, right? It's like it's all in there. And maybe Sony turned it down. He probably left. But me personally, I mean, it's a lot of unanswered questions about this, because you remember he just kind of just like, I'm gone.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm out. And it's weird because as soon as Sean left, well, actually, no, not even as soon as Sean left after his mentor left. He didn't just leave. He left when his mentor left.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know what's going on with Jim Ryan, but it's like Jim Ryan's like, I got the Infinity Gauntlet at this point. It's like
he got full control now.
Listen.
For the highway. It's like, listen, I have the reality.
Arrogant Sony might be coming back, folks.
No, it's not.
I don't know
that.
about arrogance, nah.
It's not that. Yeah. What it is this. You had the people that was entrenched. They built it, right? First thing you do when you have too much money, what you do? You expand. Yeah. Right. So what Sony did was when they got so much money, they expanded. Then you had different regions. You had different regions doing different things, and they were making sure that each head of each region was making sure that each game was being popped out. So you had games that was being launched in that region, and they would test it to see if that game could be launched in this region, and that game could work over here. And that's how you expand and grow people. Now, when
they got the global presence,
right? When you want to consolidate, I want you to look at this. When you're going to consolidate, you start knocking off the branches that are no longer selling. We can look at other companies and we can see this happening with other companies, but when it's our beloved company, we're going to chalk it up to, no, that's not happening that way. Listen, behind closed doors, they already got the edict. They already got what was going down, what was the new agenda. And certain people wasn't falling in line for it. All right, well, if they're going to cut my job here anyway, I'm going to leave. Yeah. If they're going to cut these people jobs over here anyway, after they built up such a outstanding pedigree over here, then I'm going to leave. If they're not going to green light this project, and I think that the new Vita that you were talking about, maybe that was probably the final line.
Yeah, it probably was. They just didn't have, they didn't want to go through the hassle. Come on, Vita was ridiculous. The memory cards.
Think about the money. Think about the money needed to launch a new system when you're trying to launch a new system. Okay, so I don't believe everything is as roses as everybody wants it to be. And I know coming from a Microsoft dude, y'all like, you just want to predict doom and gloom. I don't want to predict doom and gloom. The last thing I want is to have another staple leave. So understand, I try to do my best. I try to purchase all I can purchase, and I try to support as much as I can. But if some company is dead set on selling, if you're dead set on selling your car, every time you get in your car, if the heat don't turn on fast enough for you, that car gotta get out of here. I gotta get my new car. Yep. So are they looking for a new car? I'm just trying to be real with you guys. Or they're prettying it up to sell it.
King, they don't have Kai Sarai no more. Kai Sarai is gone. Remember, Kai Sarai's vision to fix the company. That's what is that's why the reason why we have Sony back to begin with. Remember how Sony had all these branches and they were like, it'd be foolish to sell these branches. What did Cass say, King? Sell that shit. Get that shit. We're not using it. We're not using Walkmans. Nobody buys Walkmans anymore. Nobody's into that stuff. The phones, I think they're still selling phones, but I'm not sure.
They still got the Xperion thing.
What's the Xperion? Is that the one? Okay, so
Ooh.
I didn't know they still made that.
You know what's funny? I saw that in the store, right? They legit had it like in a little box where it's like, hey, did you know it's waterproof? Hey, Duncan. I'm like, wow, can I just see what the phone does?
Does the phone work? That's the question.
I don't see what the phone does. I don't care about it being waterproof. Like, why would I be near water? I don't get that. Like, you go, it's waterproof. Like,
they're just getting back to prominence, and I see trouble in waters. I'm just, that's all.
I'll say this, like, unfortunately, it's not a real topic for today, and but the last 6 weeks. Listen, if you're a diehard Sony loyalist, you have a significant amount of worry on your plate right now because people are leaving in droves. And we're not just talking about heads of this, heads of that. We're talking about the glue that keeps these things together. The people that like Big Cloud's going to have on his show, a guy like that just picks up and goes. I mean, he's not the first one.
Like even the newer guy, y'all remember what was his name? King Adam Boyce, right?
Adam Boyce,
yes. Adam Boyce. Yeah. How long did Adam Boyce last? It didn't even feel like a year. Boyce.
It was about maybe 13 or 14 months before he bounced.
It was a little over a year.
It didn't feel like a year the way he was going. Then we lost Jack Trenton at the start. Andrew House is gone.
Jack Trenton was the one that made me go, what?
Yeah, at the time, I thought maybe he was retiring because he did say he wanted to leave on a redemption note. This is something that he's literally kept saying over and over. He wanted to leave on a redemption note. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Maybe he just wanted to try something else. I'm not sure, but that's what he's saying. The redemption notes, right? Then you have Sean Layton. Then you have Kenichiro.
We're still missing in action. By the way, no word on him.
He's in the second place. You're not.
He got an NDA.
Yeah. He got an NDA with attached with a lawsuit saying that if you even say hello to
anyone, that scene from
taking your house.
Dark Knight.
Even if you fart wrong, you better be careful.
Yeah. No, real quick. Let me just bring this back around because
Dark Knight when he's like, I want $4 million every month for the rest of my life. That's basically Sean right now. To be quiet.
Maybe. Real quick, I want to just bring this back around to the actual topic. But before I do, I want to go to Shady first on this. Gamer by Choice drops an outstanding $20 super chat. Nice. He says, great show from a great panel. I'm enjoying the discussion from these true gamers. Please hit that like button for these fine community members. Well, thanks for that. First of all, thanks for the very generous super chat, but also more importantly for the unbelievable, amazing compliment, because those are more important to me than anything. But so Shady, listen, again, I don't necessarily know what your opinion is on Horizon Zero Dawn. I still think that it would have been a great game to put as a launch title. You put that up there, you get people to buy your new box, whether it's 400, 500 or whatever. And obviously the graphics would have been amazing. Based on this job posting, I don't think it's going to happen. What are your thoughts on Horizon Zero Dawn 2?
I really liked the first game. Sorry, I was reading some chat there. I really liked the first game. That was the first title that Sony released that, as an Xbox primary gamer, I was truly jealous over. Like, I want that on my Xbox. I was pissed that I wasn't going to have it with the achievements and everything else, but I knew I had to play it. That was the first one, and I absolutely adore the gameplay loop. The diving into the shrub, hiding from the robot dinosaurs, stabbing them up, fighting the weak spots and stuff. I loved that. I thought the story was weak. I thought the acting and whatnot was pretty weak.
Acting was terrible.
It was really bad. Yeah, and especially some of the up-close animations were a little scary.
Oh yeah, she was a little cross-eyed and whatnot. I mean, I think
that lip sync was off, though.
It's your typical Sony title that just leans into its story really hard. So if you're not resonating with it, it gets in the way. That's what happened here with me. I loved the gameplay loop. Fighting the dinosaurs only. Fighting the humans sucked ass. It was just terrible. It didn't feel good. They were hard to see. It was stiff feeling. Something about the humans was not as nearly engaging as fighting those robot dinos. They were great. I loved fighting them and upgrading my bow with the different powers. I thought it was a brilliant blend of Far Cry meets Tomb Raider. It was great. But I'm not surprised at all that it's not coming at the very beginning. I'm with King. You need to have an install base to sell these games to. This is why I instantly shut down not that I have the power to, but like I don't think Grand Theft Auto is coming anytime soon next gen either, because that's a company that makes world records with their sales. They're going to do like 25, 30 million copies in a day. That's what that company does. So they're going to be waiting a long time.
Y'all
The only way
both systems though, PS5.
Even then, it doesn't matter.
No?
Like,
Y'all don't think they would do that for
like
like
next GTA? No way.
Yeah, like they do, like what they did
No.
with GTA 5. Remember, it was on both
No.
systems. Y'all
No, I don't think they
so.
can.
I don't think
I
so.
think it's almost been the rumor has been out there that it's going to skip next.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's skipping the current gen.
It's going to skip this generation. They have to, dude. It's just going to be too big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's possible.
They're
That's
still
just
making
just
money right
modern, bro.
now.
Yeah, they're printing
Yeah, them
money.
flash
They're printing
cards,
gold
I'm
bars.
shocked. Like if you go to PSN or Xbox Live, them shark cards are still in like the top DLC. So that shit's crazy.
Listen, I have at least 20 people I can look at every day on my list
and all
that's
that?
playing the game.
Do they
It's
have like the
crazy.
yachts and all that? Buying the
Yeah,
see,
my boy
I
told me
know
he
one
brought a
person on
mansion.
my list who bought the yacht and legit went all out with it. I'm like, bro, so you spend what $200 for this? He's like, well, that's what I got. I'm like, bro, this is. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. You got it, but it's like it's not worth it. And dude's just spending it though. They don't care.
You know what? You can't say somebody's enjoyment is worth what your value is.
Yeah,
you know, because a lot of times I can get something stupid like an ornament in Destiny 2, and I'm running around skipping up the block. So I'm sorry.
One thing I will say though, King, Rockstar pissed me off with Red Dead 2's microtransactions. It's the most insulting.
And that part right there, throw it in the bushes is in stores now. So you can throw Red Dead in the bushes and you can wear the shirt and be proud. I don't like the game. I have it.
Yeah. Did you want to close out this particular your statement on Horizon Zero Dawn 2 though?
The game's a guarantee. I just think it's later in the gen. Sony last gen, and they were successful at it, was start slow as far as first party goes, lean in on indie games and third party content, and then drop your first party later. I know a lot of Sony guys give Xbox dudes shit all the time on like, if you don't hammer them, if you don't change their way or your ways, if you don't let them know you want better, you'll get the same every time. Sony fans reiterated that they were totally fine with what happened this gen with PS4. We're totally fine. They even celebrated it. I love having the first person or first party at the end. Let third party and indies carry the beginning. It's fine. Like they were told them that it was 100% fine. So I could see Sony just repeating it. Like, oh, you guys were totally down with it. Our zealots, totally mirrored and parroted what we said. They loved it. They're down. That's right. The zealots, they come on for us and they love it. They love it. So I could see Sony just being like, yeah, well, we'll just, again, lean in on the indies and the third party. I mean, the top dog at Sony, again, just got demoted to doing some kind of indie thing. So I think this is what they got. They don't have big bangers to release, and then financially it doesn't make sense because they don't have the consoles. And if they're not doing a Game Pass service day and date and expecting you to buy these, their engagement would be low. If you've only got 3 million consoles, the max you can sell is 3 million. Whereas like Halo, when it launches, the new Halo Infinite, we already know that it's coming out on this generation of Xboxes. So it's got 50 to 55 million or whatever the number is already there waiting. Plus Game Pass, we know it's going to be there day and date. So the barrier to entry is extremely low for those gamers that don't need to own games to enjoy them. So it's a different situation with what Xbox is doing with their big game day and date and what Sony's doing. I think that's one of the reasons we haven't heard anything for big games as far as Sony goes, outside of Ghost of Tsushima. That is guaranteed, confirmed, coming out for your PlayStation 4s. It will play on your PS4, and it will likely run and look better on your PS5. And that will be their cross-gen launch title, similar to Halo Infinite. But any of these other bigger games, like the Horizon Zero Dawn 2, it's coming for sure. That sold a lot. It reviewed well. But I don't think it's coming soon. It'll be coming later.
No, that's fine. And
you're
of
gonna
course,
see a lot of enhanced titles be used to sell the console for sure. Like Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah, They're definitely gonna be pushing. I wouldn't even be surprised if there's a repackaging of all of their older games.
Arrows with the hefty triggers. Like, come on.
Yes. Dude, absolutely. That's such a Sony thing.
Yeah.
But Gaming Forte. Just want to close out this topic because the next one is so salty that everyone here is going to need a gallon of water to survive the rest of the show. Because I have a lot to say, and it's regarding Kojima, it's regarding Death Stranding, and because we have Big Cloud Gaming, who had some serious behind the scenes information. We're going to go to him first on it. But what are your thoughts, Gaming Forte, on Horizon Zero Dawn 2? Are you disappointed like I am that it's not going to be there? And do you think that everyone is pretty much in agreement that this isn't going to come until there are possibly 10 million consoles in the wild?
I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I mean, everybody wants to have good games at the beginning of a gen, especially from the first party publisher, because they're the main reason why you're buying the game in the first place. But when it comes to Horizon, I have a love-hate relationship with that game. The first one I really enjoyed. But the thing is, I thought I enjoyed it for the wrong reasons, honestly.
Okay.
The reason I enjoyed the game is because I love the beginning of the game was really cool. Story was pretty good. I like the stealth mechanics in the game. I'm a sucker for robots and giant fucking mechs and dinosaurs. So that was something that really spoke to me playing through it. I like to grind and hunt for things. And if you're not the type of person that likes to really grind and do stuff like that, the beginning part of that game, the part that was fun to me, could kind of just be kind of a bore to you. But I didn't realize how much that game really wasn't the game that I wanted until Breath of the Wild came out and told me, it reminded me of what a game truly was that was trying to do the same exact thing. Granted, the systems and stuff were different, but both open world games, both doing something that no other game had done when it came to the source material and stuff in it. Zelda a little bit more just because it's never been an open world game before. But I would take the empty world of Hyrule and the adventures that game put me on than what Horizon Zero Dawn gave me in the first 30 hours I put into it.
Okay, that's fair.
I thought I was super into Horizon Zero Dawn until Breath of the Wild came out. And guess what? Like pretty much everybody else on this panel, I didn't beat that game once Breath of the Wild came out. I tried to go back and play it. You go to that menu with all the different options on the screen and saying where I'm like, okay, I load up my save and I'm like, where the hell am I? It's like I have no idea. It's like, then I go to my quest page and my main mission page, and I'm like, none of this stuff, it's all gibberish. I might as well be reading.
It was confusing. I will admit that.
That's what it was. Like, so maybe I would have wanted to finish the game if it was not as convoluted and I couldn't actually know where the hell I was in the game. But it was like at that point, I'm like, I put 30 hours in and I really don't want to start this game over, because as much as I enjoyed the beginning of it, I don't want to do the same thing that I did before over again to get to it. Now, I do have the DLC, and I know people that's played the Frozen Wild, and from everything I hear, is way better than the base game.
It is a lot better than the original game.
It's better than the base game. And guess what? I want to get to that, but just like any other thing, if you can't make me want to finish the main part of your game, why do I want to go back and play the second half of it just because everybody says it's better? But I will 100% admit, the game had me hooked from the beginning, but then it just took something better to come out to realize me like, wait, you thought that was good? Let me smack you back down to earth and let you know what really is good. And ever since Breath of the Wild release, my whole outlook on open world games has changed, because they simplified what I want as a gamer. If I want to grind, I can grind. I can go get all of these different, go to the different hidden spaces in Breath of the Wild and do this. I can go to all the different puzzles and do that. I can progress and beat the game at my own leisure and not feel like I'm being held back because the game wants to hold me back.
And you can cook like a chef.
And you could cook like a chef if you want to. But if I wanted to beat the game in the first 2 hours of playing it in Breath of the Wild, I could challenge myself to do that. Where Horizon had these systems, it was like the Ubisoft effect. They put all these things in the game that make you feel like you're progressing towards something bigger, but all you're doing is busy work. And that's what Horizon Zero Dawn did for me. But I will give Guerrilla another chance, because They did something that most developers can't do. Pivot from a game that they were 100% devoted into with Killzone and actually give you something of substance that was actually worth playing. The game is worth playing. If you never played Horizon Zero Dawn, try it out. It's a game. It's one of the best looking games I've ever seen in my life, especially when it comes to an open world aesthetic.
Yeah,
outside of Red Dead Redemption, there is nothing that looks better than Horizon in an open world setting.
I agree. And after playing Zelda, like anyone who knows me knows I buy all my Sony stuff used, so it's later on when it releases. So I played a lot of Zelda before I got to Horizon Zero Dawn. And Horizon Zero Dawn blows it away in the graphics, but I felt for an open world game, I was being choked. I was being forced down pathways. I couldn't just climb any mountain like you can in Zelda. If there's a mountain in front of you, you could go around it if you want, or you can just climb it and go on the other side. Like you could go anywhere. It was so free. And then when I played Horizon, I was like, my God, this is so gorgeous. I love this gameplay loop. But you couldn't climb squat. I just felt trapped in an open world. It was very
crazy part about Horizon. There's only 2 bosses that I can think of that were legit difficult. And that was like the bird. I'm talking about that huge like eagle thing.
Yeah, he was rough.
And then the rock breaker. That's the one that took me through a loop because I didn't know what the hell it was.
But that speaks to what everybody is saying though. I wanted to climb that mountain.
That's right.
In Horizon Zero Dawn, because I knew I could, even if my stamina wasn't high enough to do it. Guess what? It was faster for me to go do a side mission to get more stamina than to go run around that mountain. So I was like, I could run around a mountain and say, forget it. But I'm climbing this mountain because that mountain is a shorter way to get to where I want to get to. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to make myself a little bit more powerful while I do it. Horizon didn't do that for me.
Isn't that the genius of Nintendo, though?
It is something simple.
Their level design is unmatched. Like they really know how to make game levels.
Something very simple that they looked at, and we always said it. We always say, you see that mountain, I want to be able to do that. But the animation is not there for your character. The mechanics is not built in that for your character. So they go looking like they're jumping on the side, rubbing their shoulders on the wall. Yeah. And they made it, or they would have put a little special patch for you to climb up, and you couldn't climb to a certain area. They just said, do it. If you have the stamina, if you have the ingenuity, you can use the mechanic. You can work
your way up that wall. Yep.
And it's just something in the simplicity of the idea, but the ingenuity of the mechanic allows it to work in such a way that it captivates you. And I'm pretty sure everybody that's here that has played Breath of the Wild finished it.
Oh, hell yeah. Twice.
You know what's funny? Dudes speed run it. They didn't even like play the story. They just went straight to the boss. Like that's insane how open it is.
It's actually the climbing in Zelda that I kind of compared to the boring gameplay of Death Stranding. Climbing in Zelda is very slow. Your stamina is small. It's difficult to do.
Yes.
It's not exactly fun to climb a mountain in Zelda, but once you get to the top, even if there's nothing there, maybe there's a Korok seed, maybe. But once you get to the top, the feeling, like the satisfaction you get,
you feel like you won something.
It's great. So in a way, almost kind of boring, slow to watch, difficult gameplay translates into feeling fantastic when you actually get there. And I think that's what Death Stranding is doing with its packages. It's boring, it's slow, it's difficult, it's cumbersome.
Death Stranding isn't a game at the end.
What I'm going to do is this. I'm going to take the words Death Stranding and segue into the next very salty topic. I got my water here. It's right here. My Poland Springs ready.
Let me get my water.
Here we go. Okay, now
he got a jug. You're full.
New information about Death Stranding has surfaced. Shockingly, it doesn't surprise me in the least, because Death Stranding apparently was inspired by Trump, Brexit, and loneliness. A winning combination if you like boring games. Now, it's widely known in the gaming community that Hideo Kojima, the game director of Death Stranding, is one of the most artistic individuals in the industry and has even expressed inspiration from other sources, including both cinema and real-world events. That's great. It's also safe to say that he makes games for himself and not for his fan base. And what I mean by that is this: his political, social, and importance of his opinions are deliberately sewn into the fabric of every game he produces. In a story pulled directly from Game Rant, they explain that Kojima was interviewed by BBC Radio right before the launch of Death Stranding. And the name of the radio's program is One Newsbeat, and he spoke about political events that inspired the themes of Death Stranding. Specifically, he named the election of President Donald Trump and Brexit as being highly influential on the design of Death Stranding. Now, listen to this is where it gets crazy. Okay, I want people to listen to the direct quotes, and you be the judge of who Kojima is trying to impress, and at the same time confuse, because both, I believe, is himself and the gamers who will potentially go out and buy the Walking Simulator 2019. Trump is building a wall, and the UK is leaving the EU. In the game, we use bridges to connect things, but destroying those bridges can instantly turn them into walls. So bridges and walls are almost synonymous. Kojima stated this theme is something he would like players to keep in mind during the playthrough. That's if you're able to stay up. Let's keep going. Furthermore, Kojima stated that individualism and loneliness are major themes of Death Stranding, calling individualism the era of today. The attacks and violence seen online these days is out of control. So I designed this for the people to take a step back, and by connecting, we can relearn how to be kind to others. Wow. Okay. All right. So this is becoming like a beatnik kind of a thing. So this is deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one thing though they didn't mention, and I was told about this.
Okay. So we're gonna go to you first on this. Now he also says this. Kojima also indicated that a major inspiration and theme for Death Stranding is loneliness, which he said which he's prone to himself. Now, him coming out and saying that's a big get, because he may not, some people keep that to themselves. So I applaud him for that. But he said that he perceives there to be a sense of loneliness among the gaming community and a feeling of being unable to fit in. So he concludes that Death Stranding will put these gamers at ease and make them realize people like them exist all over the world. Now, this is where I have a problem with this statement. See, that statement in itself tells me a couple of things about Kojima as a person. He does not know his community, because I can tell you this. The community that I'm involved in on a daily basis seems to be some of the most warm, loving, and inviting individuals, men, women, children, and everyone in between, that I have ever met in my entire life. And for someone that goes out of his way to be a D-bag sometimes and troll his gaming community, he seems like he's a little bit out of touch for me. So here is my question, and it's a long one, folks, so get ready. First of all, I'm not sure what gaming community he's referring to. But again, I find the general gaming community is very welcoming and inviting, like I just said. Secondly, I take nothing away from Kojima that he's a talented, and I dare say genius. But if there's one thing that this interview did for me, I would say it confused gamers even more on what the hell this story entails. Now, I'll go to BitCloud Gaming first, because you have the behind-the-scenes information. What are your thoughts on this interview? And are you just as confused as I was reading it?
At first I was, until I got the info, and this is before the reviews dropped and everything. So before I get to that, I'll answer your question. I'm pretty sure he's probably talking about the console war. That's what I think. I just probably think that's what it is. Everybody, attacked each other during this console war nonsense. So maybe that's what that argument is.
His answer is to make an exclusive game and fuel said console war. That's not bringing anyone together.
No. Let's go. Let's go ahead and bring up the point here. So the whole mindset of him and this whole bringing people together thing that's basically Kojima telling you in a cryptic way his journey into Kojima Productions.
And what happened at Konami, right?
Yeah. Remember, Konami pretty much left him just with nothing. He had nothing. And his journey into Kojima Productions and him making connections, aka Strands, is what led to Kojima Productions, and this led to him and his deal with Sony, and obviously the game that we have now. As far as the details that was received on the game, I already knew that there was going to be a grading system on how you get your packages to this destination, time, whatnot. I even said this on Brap before we got this, Forte. I don't know if you remember, Boom, but I said it on Brap.
Yes.
And the grading system, everybody's like, oh my God, we're actually getting graded on our performance of delivering these packages.
Oh,
I'm
my
like, well,
days.
I told you so. Dudes didn't want to listen.
FedEx Simulator. Here we go.
Dudes didn't want to listen. Now, the things that I'm seeing now, right? People are giving this game a pass just because it's Kojima. Like, I saw some dudes saying that it's a walking simulator, yes, but it's a masterpiece. I'm like, huh? It's like what? Can we just be honest here? Listen, not every single developer is going to drop a banger. Not every single one. Even if it's a developer that you love to play their games from, and they're not all going to drop bangers. We just keep it 100. I'm sick and tired of people saying like, oh, yeah, it's a walking simulator, but it's a different kind of this. Nah, it's a walking simulator. Just call it what it is. Just call it what it is. As far as the game elsewhere, again, with the connections, the network, the social network, you having players that you'll never see, but you'll know they're there because they leave items in there, such as like items that they probably left, or they'll make bridges and whatnot for you to get to point A to point B. These are things, again, all there for you, and you can connect. But again, you'll never actually run into these people in the actual world. It's pretty much a blank canvas, and everything else will be connected. All that
wow.
stuff. So basically, you're not going to run into a single player on this game. It's literally going to be a wasteland. The only players that you'll legit run into are either the marauders who will try to take you out and steal your packages and deliveries, or the actual ghosts, the BB spirits or whatever they're called. You'll run into those things. And those things right there are random. They do not happen in every set location. They're random. And these are basically set up to add tension to the game. And that's pretty much it.
Wow. Well, that sounds like I'm going out and buying 6 copies right after this show. Just want you to know that.
By the way, here's where it gets even more funny and insulting from what I was told as well. Boss battles. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard do you think the boss battles are? I'll start with David. How hard do you think the boss battles are going to be in this game?
Like a 2.
You know what? If you're gonna have me go by his past boss battles, where you could have either took him out with a shot, or you can went the long way with it. I don't know. I'm gonna go in the middle with it, and I'm gonna say a 5 out of.
That's what I would have said. I would have said a 5.
David. Okay. What if I told you that a 5 is more than likely going to be the case at your first boss battle? Because more than likely, all of you might run in and get caught by the spirits and be dragged to the actual fight, and you might not have the resources to take out the actual boss. The way you take out the boss, again, you have to go to. No. Not spoiler.
Okay. I was gonna say I still haven't decided. This
is all stuff they told you. You'll pretty much already heard. Like it's like like the charging stations for the bike, all that stuff. All that stuff is there. So basically, rest areas. Basically, they put a big emphasis on stamina and how much you endurance with the character. So as you go through the game and you have all these packages, again, it depends on you. If it's a huge order, it's up to you to determine how much of this packaging that you want to carry and go through. But keep in mind, the more you stack on the character, the more strain it puts on the character, and you're going to be, have less stamina and whatnot through the world. And that's how they're doing it. So obviously, rest areas are going to be a thing in here where you taking
a bath also is important.
Taking a bath and rest hours and like steam baths and all that is what you're going to be doing. And when you do this, the waste from the baths and whatnot, whether it be like that type of stuff, like feces and urine and all that stuff, that's what you use to take out your bosses. Keep in mind, you're not going to have much of this at the start because a lot of you pretty much are not going to be doing this day, immediately. So that's going to be where the boss battle might give you a little bit of a fight at the start. But as you progress, more than likely you're going to be doing more because you're going to be having this stuff. And that's just that. So
it sounds like a big boo to me. I got to be honest with you.
Boss battles are not something to write home about at all. I'm just going to keep it real. It's not something to write home about.
Wow. Well, I mean, I
They get
appreciate the behind the
insultingly
scenes
easy.
info, dude. I mean, a lot of the stuff we didn't know about, and I definitely appreciate you coming out. But I can tell you this, you know, again, our opinion is our opinion, and of course, the chat's opinion. If they like it and they're enjoying it, I say that's great. I applaud you for it. But if you're on the fence, folks, there is too many games to throw down $60. Wait for this to be $20 or even like a free PSN in the month. You know what I'm saying? Like they throw that game in there. Wait for that. But yeah, real quick, I gotta see if I could find it. Slow-mo backslap basically said, I don't have it in front of me. He said that Death Stranding is basically the newer version of Paperboy, which is pretty hilarious. Mr. Tushy drops a $2 super chat. He says, so Shady, you are a legend. Just want to kind of do that. And Elementor P drops an additional outstanding and very generous super chat. He says, is Death Stranding dependent on an online connection, even as a single player game? Is it always online? I don't actually, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to that, but I do want to go to FC Violent, you know, on this. When you hear, listen, you know, I'm going to say this. I can smell bullshit very easily. Okay. And when someone tries to use big words or terminology to try and sound like they're a part of the upper echelon of interviews, again, I take nothing away from what he's done and his genius as a developer. I don't have the intelligence of his toe, and I get it, but I am going to tell you that when I hear him speak like this, I'm like, you just lost 20,000 sales of your game, maybe more. Thanks, dude. I'm sure Sony is just dying listening to this guy on these interviews. And I've heard, I'm almost positive it was on Brap where I heard that people may not want to believe this, but Konami was a necessary evil as a handler for this dude. And how he wants to make his games. When you hear this ridiculous loneliness and politically focused shenanigans that he's talking about, does this make you want to buy this game?
Boom. Remember the last time I was on the show? What did I say about the game?
You know what, dude? I honestly don't. I'm gonna say I don't remember, but go ahead.
I said in order to play this game, you'd have to take one of the shrooms or whatever the additional drugs that Kojima was using. Because there was a Twitter thing with a big fat joint. That's what he had. I'm like, you have to take one of those to enjoy these type of games. So I don't know. I guess Sony was also in the room getting high while he was trying to give his pitch, and they realized, okay, how do we promote this?
You'll probably say it's game of the year if you follow the same model. Just sit back.
I mean, like, I'm gonna try it because maybe I was arguing. Well, not arguing. I was talking to
it. Yeah.
I was talking to somebody in the comments, and they were like, you know, they're enjoying it. I'm like, why are you enjoying it? Like what's exciting about the game? And he said the journey. Okay,
you see Kofi played, right? Did you see Kofi?
No, I didn't.
Oh, bro, you guys see Kofi's face the entire shit playing this. Like,
I heard it was it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
was he enjoying it?
Like, okay, you know how like somebody has a poker face, right? Where they don't want to break. That's basically Kofi the entire stream. Like he doesn't want to break. He doesn't want to admit that he's not having that much fun. He said it's cool in aspects, right? It's got cool things, but he's like he doesn't want to admit that he's not having fun with the game. He just doesn't want to admit it. He's put it back there.
That admits defeat in people's eyes for some reason.
Exactly. I think it's more so to do with Kojima itself. I mean, again, this game obviously is not for everybody, and I already knew going in. You already see the game, what it is. You walk, you rock climb. You know, you're getting ready for a triathlon. You're doing all that stuff to train to deliver these packages, and you're getting graded on these packages. I mean, if you really want to get graded in real life, just join the UPS. You know what I'm saying? If you don't make your time, you get fired. I mean, you can do that in real life too. But, you know, damn dog. Sorry. So this game in itself, I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. It's. I think the Giant Bomb review did a good take on this game.
Yes, I agree. 4 out of 10 is what it stands for me personally, and a lot of people don't understand this. The two guys that were talking at Giant Bomb, one of them is a huge
Kojima
fan. Like you can't say anything negative about him, and he was like, what am I playing? I agree with you on this. So if a Kojima fan is saying that, really, where's the argument?
Exactly. And I think if you read the article, I think there's one line I want to repeat. And shout out to Slow Mo Backslap. Don't be mad. UPS is hiring facts. What he said in the Giant Bomb interview, like he said, Kojima doesn't even really understand what the game is, but we do. I mean, it's like, and in the end, it's like this game is a disappointment. You know what I mean? Like it's not good. It's not fun. 4 out of 10. So I don't know, man. Keeping it real. Again, you might like it. I'm gonna try it out for myself, but I think the main issue that this game has is that it didn't present itself, or it didn't tell the audience what it was going to be beforehand. They try to keep it in secret. After looking at some of the reviews, after looking at some of the video reviews, really mainly, I realized, okay, don't think of it as an action game. Think of it as an experience type of game. Like you're there to experience this craziness that Kojima has in his mind that he lives or whatever. Like this is his thoughts, manifested. And if you go in doing that, if you go in knowing that this is that type of game, I think you would enjoy it more so than if you think it's going to be one of those action type of games, a la old Kojima games like Metal Gear. So if you go in thinking like, all right, this game is going to be slow, it's going to be dreadful, it's going to be, it's the humanity's at brink, and it's just me by myself. I am. What's that Will Smith movie where he's by himself? You know what I mean?
Legend.
Like, I am legend, like I am legend type of thing, and I'm trying to bridge the world and connect it. If you go in with that mindset, I think you will enjoy it. But for anyone else who's not really ready or wanting to wait 10 hours to get to the plot, I'd pass. But then again, I don't know. Smoke a big one and you'll enjoy it. So that's all I can say.
That's actually a great point. King, I want to go to you because I know you're chomping at the bit. Now, Shady, I'm going to come at the end because he's going to have a lot to say about this game. He actually came around on it, which was very surprising. But King, when you hear Kojima talking like this, as a business-minded individual, do you agree with me that Sony's brass is like, oh my God, someone put a muzzle on this dude trying to explain this game to the BBC. He's just ruined us in the EU. What are your thoughts on his statements?
Okay, so as far as his interview goes, he's lying. All right, so and he's not living in his truth. All right, because what he's doing is he's trying to throw out words that are polarizing and to have you talk about it. Right. So he said, Trump, how is Trump influence me in this game? Brexit, how did they influence him in this game? So it allows you to delve deeper into the game to figure it out. Right. Listen, I give this one, I'm calling this one his mulligan, to be honest with you. This is his breakup song. This is his breakup game. This is his game that when he got kicked out the house, when he found out that, he's no longer wanted, the locks was changed and the situation was sour, it was going sour for a while, and like they was holding his hand for a little bit, and they just got sick and tired of watching grandma not take her meds. All right. So they just got tired of it and they just severed ties. Now, is Konami better off for it? Is he better off for it? I thought they were great together, but we didn't know the backgrounds of this details of the situation. But I felt that him saying those things in that interview was more of to have people look into the game that weren't interested in the game to begin with, to make him seem a little bit deeper. Now, as far as talking about the community and the isolation in the community, sorry, sir, you do not know the demographics. This is not 1998 anymore.
Right.
We are connected at all times. Everybody was running from their systems being on at all times. Your system is on all the time. Even if it's off, it's passively on. All right. Because if you have downloading in the background, it's not downloading while it's off. You understand? So we are connected by Live. We're connected by PlayStation. We're connected by Nintendo. We're connected by Steam. We're connected by our cell phones. Everything that we're playing, we're connected with somebody else. We're tweeting. Social media has connected us in ways that we don't want to be connected in. So being alone is not the issue here. Being toxic to the community is more of an issue, because you're too connected, right? Everybody's taking pictures of their food and stuff like that. So I don't believe that stuff that he's saying. I believe that he lives in his own little bubble. And like you said, he makes games for himself. This is a selfish experience. And he's telling you his journey about delivering himself probably to his destination. Who cares? I really don't care. But what I do care is that he is a genius, and these individuals need to be cultivated. Do I believe that his next game is going to be a banger? That's the one that's going to be a 9 out of 9? I mean, 9 out of 10? Yeah, I believe that game would be. I believe he deserves this mulligan. I believe he put in enough work to get this mulligan. And if you're going to go on this journey with him, go with it. Find out if the game is good for you. Once it gets into like a PlayStation Now type of service or something like that, that I can take the dive in and check it out, I'll do so. But if you think I'm going to pluck down $65 of my hard-earned money on your financial experiment, it's not going to happen, sir. I'm not going to be the guinea pig for you. I won't do it. But I do say, if you're a fan of this man, if you like his work, go in. Play the game with an open mind. Don't listen to any critic. Don't listen to any metric. Don't worry about that part. Go and enjoy the game. And if you are a graphics whore, the game looks to die for. It looks delicious. It looks 100% something that you want. I saw one of the actors said that they didn't, like the lead actor, didn't care for Silent Hill's version because he was supposed to be in Silent Hill. And he was happy that this game came to fruition and Silent Hill game got canceled. I'm sorry, sir. Had you actually did a really good Silent Hill game, you would see the adulation that will be heaped upon you, opposed to this polarizing game of this guy's journey into his new company, getting separated from his old company. Yeah. That's my take on it. I believe none of that stuff that he said in that interview was real. I believe he said it for shock value to get you guys to listen in, and it is working.
Because how you feel about the making movies though? That's more shock value for you.
Yeah, well, that's actually not surprising because obviously, first of all, I don't know if he'll ever get a film developed because I don't know anyone that would want to invest in him. Again, the supposedly the ending is a 2-hour movie that you that
he has friends in Hollywood. Boom. If you have Del Toro.
Yeah, that's true. You are right. Yeah, that's true.
Serious friends in Hollywood, and that's the route that he wants to go. This is the medium that he wants to use. If you haven't seen any of Kojima's stuff, all of his stuff has been interactive movies that you get a chance to play little parts in. So if he can actually bring his movies to life, I think he really would like to take the total control out of it and talk to you as the true narcissist that he is, to have you view his vision. And it's okay. You're supposed to do that, because if he doesn't have that little bit of narcissism in him, you don't get Metal Gear Solid. You don't get these great games. He is a genius. And sometimes a genius wants to feel like he's always right. Somebody on our podcast said he's the Kanye West of video games, and it probably is true.
Well, look, all I can say is this. Normally I don't like to slow down the show because everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I have to address this because if I'm doing something wrong, I'll be the first one to say I did it wrong. Moe in the chat is saying that he used to listen to me more, and I appreciate you listening to me at all because I'm not owed anything. But he says you are becoming more and more biased, just saying. And I kind of find that to be a little insulting, simply because if I talk about gaming with an excitement unlike anyone else, and I'm willing to stake my claim in the ground for that. I write these shows. There is zero bias. I support all 3 consoles, my friend. As a matter of fact, I can assure you something that I'm not sure. And again, I'm not putting you on the spot here. I have owned every console ever released in life since 1978, when I picked up my first Atari 2600. Yes, I'm a little older than most people, but I can assure you I have purchased and owned every console that you probably don't even understand were available.
Don't let it bother you, Boom. It's coming from someone who likely has a bias for PlayStation, and they're just upset
that's
that
fine.
You're not
That's
loving
fine,
this
but
game. One bias being upset that you might not be all over it. Come on.
No, it's okay, but I had to address it. But Shady, I'm going to come to you in a second, but I want to go to Gaming Forte on this. Again, what aggravated the shit out of me personally about this interview was the community statement, because for me personally, what I built this channel on, what I continue to build this channel on, is the connection with this outstanding community. And I gotta be honest, it aggravated me to think that he thinks of the community as being this one-way bottlenecked version of life, when it is not that. And this is coming from a guy that goes out of his way to troll his own fans almost on a regular basis for that, quote unquote, shock value. I think it's insulting, and I think fans of him should be insulted. Do you feel the same way, or am I taking this too far?
Well, I mean, you never could say you're taking anything too far, because you are you. You know, what you are willing to deal with is something another person may not be willing to deal with. So I would never tell anybody how they should feel about a situation. I always tell people, when it comes to expressing your feelings about something, talk to don't do it in a public place, which I know you don't do. You tell people, if you're upset about something and you want to talk about something, you want to talk about it in the medium that you want to talk about with the people you want to talk to about, and just not air it all over the place. I think for Hideo, look, the man has been exercised for so long. He hasn't had the creative freedom that he wanted when he was at Konami. Probably honestly for good reason, with the way that this game is released. It's not saying that the game is horrible or anything like that. And I think that's the pit that everybody's falling in. You know, people are saying like it's no middle ground. It's always either you love it or you hate it. Either you're a person that just respects Kojima or he's terrible. It's no middle ground. It's not going in saying, you know, the game is, let me just try to see what this game is. There's really no expiration to it and stuff, because people have pretty much made up their mind before it's even released. And I think to an extent that is part of Hideo's part, because I've been telling you this on Brat for the longest. Why do I want to play a game that I know absolutely nothing about? You showed me 5.5 hours worth of gameplay, one of them in a 45-minute sitting. And I still didn't know what your game about. So I was like, okay, well, maybe he's hiding stuff. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe the story is very integral in the stuff that he wants to show in the story. So I'll give a pass on that. We'll probably see more as time goes on. And then the unthinkable happens. The man comes out and tweets out and goes on an interview and says, hey, he might have been joking about it, but I'm sorry. When I hear a person making the game say, man, I don't even know what Death Stranding's about, I take that at face value. I'm sorry. You could have been joking, or you wanted to be joking. And like King said, the man is saying things that he's saying stuff for shock value. And guess what? My shock value from it is, why do I want to play your game? Mm-hmm. You don't even know what your game is. And the stories that you've been telling me in these little cliffhanger interviews and video gameplay reproductions haven't shown me what I want anyways. Everything I see from this game from the moment I seen it day one is you're walking around on foot, delivery packages like UPS. And guess what? That's what this game is. At its core, people can sit here and say, oh, it's the source material is what makes this game something that you want to play. It's the journey getting to the end. It's not the adventure to get to the end. It's the journey that you take going to the end. And I say BS, because I play a game to play a game
to have fun. Hashtag fun, folks.
Right. And then people, we had a big conversation on Brap about this. You know, there is
Brap disagreed.
Yeah, Brap disagreed wholeheartedly. You know, and
like,
you know,
bro,
it's a situation where, and like you said, fun is a subjective thing. But I say, okay, if I take fun out of it, but the one thing that we definitely do is enjoy what we do. We enjoy podcasting. We enjoy talking amongst each other, going on Twitter. I enjoy watching King unbox his statues on King of Statues. If I didn't enjoy that, why would I watch it?
Exactly. That's a great point.
And that's really the biggest thing.
Thank you, sir.
You're absolutely welcome, sir. But that is the ultimate thing.
To what he said before, you were sold for Star Wars with one trailer. You still weren't sold with it. Death Stranding.
Look, like I said, even with Star Wars, we talked about how the sales on Star Wars are going to be. I said if the movie was already out and the movie was amazing, guess what? The sales for Star Wars, that video game, will be astronomically better than they would be before the movie launches, because people are going into this movie with trepidation. They don't know what Star Wars is going to be. So yes, the game is going to sell just because of the IP itself, but what would the game sell if Star Wars actually was what people remember it and want it to be?
Well, that's why you have to watch The Mandalorian, PS, by the way, because that comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And that might fix a lot of the things, but ultimately it just comes down to this. It's just like your relationship with your girl. You know, you got to work on it, but you got to know why you're in it. If you don't know why you're in a relationship in any facet, your girl, gaming, your job, if you're not enjoying your job, why are you working there? Find something else to do. And I think that's the one thing that people need to really look at when Hajil is telling you these things, because the man is a master thinker. We will never take that away from him. The man created Metal Gear. Metal Gear is one of the most influential franchises.
One of my favorite games in my top 5 of all time.
And guess what? The unfortunate thing is, this game, Death Stranding, seems to have more gameplay in it than any game he's ever made before, because we all know Metal Gear is more half movie than it is game. This game actually has more game in it than movie. But the fact that it's not executed the right way, I'm not going to be walking down a hallway trying to balance my character out based on the load I got on my back. I'm sorry, when I'm walking across the open world, I don't want to be thinking about how I got to carry my backpack doing it.
Get a Jan Sport.
Exactly. And the last thing for everybody to talk, and the last thing, when everybody's playing this game over the weekend, I don't want to hear any type of excuses about, oh, that's part of the gameplay mechanic. That's part of the experience of playing the game. You got to make, just like you're walking in real life, you got to balance yourself out. You guys didn't say that when Red Dead Redemption came out and you had to walk through a camp. And everybody's like, why do I got to walk through this camp? Why it take me 20 minutes to go from one side of the camp to the other? It's not part of the game. It's the journey. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear no excuses for that when it comes to this game. But ultimately, the game's going to be fine because it's a Sony game, and Hojaya has a good name behind him. And like he said, it's going to get a mulligan. It's going to sell decently, but ultimately play the game for yourself to make the decision you want to make for yourself on it.
No, that's a great point. Real quick, Shady, before I get to you, I have to thank Scrubnurse with the outstandingly generous $20 super chat. He says, people have preferences, no doubt. But if we can have a constructive debate on what we like and what we don't like, what's the point of having the discussion? Kojima's interviews and game goes into King like this. Hashtag Bushes, just my opinion. So thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being here as always, Scrub Nurse, and thank you for the comment. Of course, so Shady, I saved you for last because obviously I think you're going to surprise a lot of people on your standing on Death Stranding. But before you do, what are your thoughts on this community comment that has me all in a tizzy?
Yeah, which comment? I just know that Kojima, his description.
Well, the one
like
about community being
Trump.
Lonely and being.
Yes, okay. I can see where he's coming from, to be honest. I mean, look at the insanely loud trumpets being blown about single player games being where it's at. Hardcore gamers play single player alone with nobody to bother them, and a huge this is what people want. Gaming has only fairly recently, the last decade, been kind of quote unquote cool to admit that you're a hardcore gamer. As an adult, you're going home after work and you're gaming all the time. It wasn't very popular when I was in high school back in the 1900s, the late 1900s. You weren't the coolest kid in school because you could beat Mario, because you were the top player in GoldenEye. That didn't make you cool. Today, being a god at Fortnite not only probably makes you pretty cool at school, especially if you're rocking the newest, hottest skin, but you're making millions of dollars doing it. You're like almost a sports celebrity in a different type of realm for the people that watch that. It's a different world today for gamers, but there's still a lot of guys that are screaming about, I need to be alone. I need to be by myself. I need to be basically lonely. Like, I think gamers, a lot of them are lonely. And this is one of the reasons they game, is it allows them to be empowered, do whatever they want. All of a sudden they're an X-Wing fighter. They're a pro football player. They're a race car driver, whatever, what have you. It's kind of a something that really empowers introverts. So I can see where he's coming from. Every gamer isn't lonely, but there's a lot of them that are, I think. I don't think that's a bad thing either at all. It's just a trait that I kind of think comes with the hobby for a lot of people. And then as far as Kojima's statements on like comparing this game or saying that like the election of Trump and Brexit going down influenced it, it sounds nuts. I'm with King on that. It's also a hot topic. It brings attention. It gets headlines. But I also think he's somewhat right on that. Both of those things are about dividing humanity. We've got a country that's trying to rip itself apart with Brexit. We've got another country that has elected somebody that has turned out to be massively divisive, like massively. It hasn't brought people together. It's pushed people apart for their political views more than it has in a very, very, very long time. It's not a good thing to see when people would rather go to war with each other over their beliefs than discuss it and find the common ground that they have. And I think that's what he's talking about. And then when he's talking about, if you have a wall, they're all building up walls and you use bridges and those are kind of analogous. Again, it sounds nuts. Like Kojima, I think, is his worst enemy. I don't like the guy at all. I can't stand the way he talks about stuff. I don't like how he talks about himself. His art factor is it's too out of control, man. He's way up his own ass. He's his number one biggest fan. I do believe you do need to be a bit of a fan yourself. How can I expect anyone to tune in to me and listen to what I have to say if I don't believe in myself, for one, right? If I'm not kind of my own big fan, how the hell can I expect anyone else to get in line? So I'm sort of with him on it, but he's too big. He's blowing his own horn way too hard. I think he gets in the way of his own work too much. It was him and the marketing of this game that got in the way of me getting excited for it. It's only some of the reviews that I've read that have me excited for it now, not to go out and get it for full price. I'm waiting until this is an IMAX ticket cost, $20, $25 at most. And I think it looks engaging in some aspects. It looks terrible in others. It looks corny as all hell, literally, but it's also gorgeous. The man has poured his heart and soul into this. It's very, very, very high production value. And I do think it is unique, both in that strand system, which again is people that are 100% alone. I'm playing by myself. I don't get to speak to other gamers. I don't get to see other gamers. But there's a potential to actually work with other gamers to make the environment around you easier to traverse. I used an example on a previous show with the highway. You cannot build a highway yourself. It's impossible. You do not have the resources available to you. But if you come across an area, let's say, and it's just a real bitch to get your package through, you hate it, and it's like, this sucks. I've got a bunch of resources. I'm gonna just leave some here to start a highway. You just make like a waypoint, I guess, and you put your resources into it. Who knows? And you leave, you go back, and days later you're coming back with another package through the same area, and you're like, my God, this sucks. Other people have come through that area and they feel the same way. This sucks. I hate this area. And all of a sudden they see this little weird waypoint on the ground. What's this? It's like a resource cache. Someone is starting a highway. So they throw a little bit of their resources in, and someone else does, and someone else does, and someone else does, and someone else does. Maybe it's 10 people. Maybe it's 100 people. I really don't know. But you come back and there's a highway there all of a sudden. And someone else started to say, maybe build a garage that has powered up bikes. So not only do you have a flat surface you can walk smoothly on, you can get onto a bike and just roar through it. That was kind of neat. And there was a lot of other things that they hinted at, recharge stations and everything that can be built where you may never actually see the results yourself. But because you've started it and other people have, but you're going to come across a recharge station somewhere that you didn't build or partake in. It's just there. And it's like, oh, shit, this is exactly what I needed right here, right now. This is cool. And if you understand the mechanics, you understand that was just other people out there giving some of the resources that they've grinded a boring game to acquire, quote unquote, and donated it into something that might help someone else. So and when you start to see these different things, it's like reinforcing you to help, right?
He saw Field of Dreams and said he's going to make the game Field of Dreams. If you build it,
if you build it, they will come. It's almost like it's treat people the way you want to be treated in a game form without ever seeing the other people. The way you're treated is all of a sudden shown in the world where there's like a recharge station or a garage filled with bikes or a full-blown highway, which I was alluded to as being one of the bigger things that can be built is these highways. That takes a lot of cooperation from people to willing to chip in, and they may never come back and use this highway. It may never even get completed, but I think the feeling and knowing that maybe you're the one that started it, even the guys that like helped out, that's pretty neat. If you were to come back and you saw that highway and you got on and realized this is way easier, and the next package you bring through that area is like a triple S score, as opposed to the last one you brought through was like a B- because you're tripping and staggering all over the environment. I think the game is unique. It has a lot to offer in some aspects. It's also just baked in Parmesan cheese, man. Like but I think that's part of the allure.
You know what I like about what you're saying? The fact that you and I feel the same. Maybe we might come around to it later on, right, and play the game later on. But by the time we get to play it, it's going to be highways, bridges.
Well, the thing with that is the first time you get to an area, it's empty. You actually have to deliver your package for the first time and set up the network that they have in the game. I don't know what they call the network. You set that up, and then after that's gone, your first mission through the area, now it starts to input some stuff. And I've kind of been led to believe again that it's not the whole world putting shit in there at all times and it just includes everything. It is somehow picking and choosing. So your world isn't overpopulated. I don't know where it's getting that from, if it's a friends list or what, but it's not as honest as it kind of comes off. It's like it's not everything out there.
I'm gonna have to use the fraud light on Kojima. I'm sorry, I didn't think I was gonna use it today.
There you go. The fraud light is out, ladies and gentlemen. The show.
Some random stuff that might not happen, that maybe would happen, that shouldn't happen. I don't know if it's gonna happen.
The boss battles are randomly going to happen because those little creatures.
If you get caught,
going to pop up. Yeah.
If you don't get caught, you don't fight a boss.
If you don't get caught, you won't. Well, actually, I think you do fight a boss because it's story related. Because you guys remember Troy Baker's character where he summons one with the mask.
Yes.
So, you fight them numerous times as well. So if you're getting caught by the BTs a lot, you're going to see the same handful of bosses. I've been led to believe there's maybe like 5 to 7. You're going to see them a lot. Like, I'm fighting this guy again. And it doesn't change up. It's the exact same fight, same everything. If you do have the resources for those grenades, the fights aren't hard either. It's just dodge out of the way.
Nothing like pooping in a bag to throw in a boss.
It's very, very, very cinematic.
I was getting
cinematic, but it's dynamic, man.
True vibes when you throw, you know what I'm saying? I was getting those vibes.
I just find like every single step in this game seems like it has the potential to be dynamic. I feel like the jankiness we've seen in a lot of gameplay is someone who is playing the game poorly. They are tripping over rocks because they're not hitting the right balance buttons. They're just not good at the game.
I don't do that at all. I mean, I got more information from you right now than I've gotten from anyone.
Yeah, actually, Big Ed says that you sold the game better than they did.
Literally, I was so turned off on this title. I was initially interested because it looked beautiful graphics wise and it's science fiction. But I felt that Kojima and the hours of broken cutscenes that we were given and just disjointed gameplay, it hurt the marketing. It didn't help anything. Not me, anyways, as a gamer. The zealots were going wild, but they always are. I mean, the marketing got in the way. It wasn't until after it was out, I watched Skill Up's review, I watched Inside Gaming's review. They were both very cautious about spoilers, but I thought they did a great job of explaining what the hell the game is and why a game that is boring and slow and difficult can at the end of the day become enjoyable, rewarding, and fulfilling. Like I'll use that Zelda comparison again. It's not fun climbing the mountains. It's slow, it's plodding, it's difficult.
Methodical.
But once you get to the top, it's insanely rewarding. It feels fantastic. I climb every mountain I see because I know that the feeling of getting to the top is great. It's like things in life worth doing aren't easy. Basically that kind of that saying, right? Like the game is battling you step by step. Whereas Red Dead Redemption, it was slow, but you couldn't do anything while you walked. You just held forward and your character just walked. There was no actual engagement of trying to maybe balance your character unless Arthur tripped and fell on his ass. That wasn't happening. So to some, that doesn't mean nothing. Yay, every step is a button press. But to me, it tells me that if you're doing those button presses correctly, the game is going to suddenly become rewarding with each step. Because if you're not doing it correctly, you're tripping all over the place. You're dropping your packages. They're taking damage. You have to take the time to repick them up, all those things. So if you can not have that happen and your guy is literally strutting, he's dancing, he's sea-walking the package all the way home, I think that would feel great knowing what it takes to have that happen versus watching some guy just clunkily get it done. Like it's a game that can be played well versus a game that can just be knocked through, and one of them is going to look good and be rewarding for the player, right? Like I don't want to ever watch this game ever. I don't want to watch the best player in the world play it. It'll be a snooze fest.
Yeah.
He's just strolling.
It's funny, Shady.
Playing it could be great.
To your point here. So obviously, I'm a completionist. I like to go for platinums.
Yeah.
So many hours it would take for me to platinum this game.
I've heard it's like 70 or more to platinum a game like this.
It's actually 175 hours.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Like that's insane. And to be a completionist to platinum games to get all the achievements, some games, man, they kick you right in the dick. Like here's a war with the seriously 0.0 achievements where they're like, yeah, just re-up 20 times, get 20 million kills in deathmatch, get 100 million kills in. You're like, what the? There's other games, Gears. We can't do that. So I feel for you, man. The game is long. Yeah. For the people that want to get everything out of it, it's almost too long. But I do think moment to moment, it could be good. And I make no promises to ever beat it. But when I find it cheap, I'm going to pick it up. And I think there is something there that's going to resonate with me, man. Besides the game's beauty, like I can spend a lot of time walking around looking at just the way the grass moves around your dude's feet. And I've heard that there's like a cosmetic game going. You can change your outfits. Your shoes wear out, for God's sakes. You're stopping to massage your feet with mini games. Like this, it's out of control. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but I do think it is almost a new genre, not a Strand genre, but something new where it's like taking the walking simulator and really making it something fleshed out. You know, like Telltale Games, they're a walking simulator. You have a story there, but you're just walking. There's nothing to do with it. All the action is delivered via QTEs. I think those are very casual games. I don't consider them fun. I do consider them enjoyable. I used the example before. I just watched a Nazi documentary on the rise and fall of the Third Reich. To say that was fun is nuts. It's not. It was disturbing. It was hardcore. It was eye-opening. It was educational. I enjoyed the shit out of it. I gave it 10 out of 10 documentary style, and I recommend it. But it's not fun at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think people get the terms fun and enjoyed mixed up, and they're very close. But I think you can enjoy something that isn't fun at all. It's rewarding, and that's the part that's enjoyable, is the rewarding aspect.
No, well, listen, you explained it certainly a heck of a lot better than Kojima or Sony could, and you might have actually sold it on somebody. For me personally, I have purchased every first-party game or first or second party game for Sony throughout this generation. I am not buying this.
And anyone out there that does go out and spend their hard-earned money off of what I've said, I don't want to see you coming back to me and being like, this game is garbage. You sold me straight trash, Shady. I'm not selling you nothing. I'm just telling you how I feel and what I've been seeing of this game since I've seen a few reviews. I think it's come around in some of the reviews. Some of them are from, I don't want to say casual gamer, but just a more standardized gamer's point of view, like the IGN one. For those guys that want a standard type of game experience, I don't think this is it, man. It's not the genre they're looking for. But I play everything. I load up sports games just to check out the new graphics and see how, the basketball bounces and stuff like that now in games. I do that with everything. So I would like to see what this game is doing. I do think it's got something different on offer.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And that's a great way to break it down. Listen, I got to get a few people out of here because it's show ran a little longer than it normally does. But I kind of had a feeling that this was going to be the end discussion because there's a lot to discuss. FC Violent, first of all, I want to thank you for being here, dude. This is now, I think, the third or fourth time you've been on a show. Love having you on because you really bring a passion and some real good knowledge to each show that you're on. You have a lot going on, and I think that you have to get more people, flowing over to your incredible YouTube channel, get more subscribers there, also get some more followers on Twitter as well. So do me a favor, tell everyone where they can do that, and they can check out your incredible work.
Yes, sir. First, I got to say thank you, Boom, again for bringing me on the show. It was great. I got good debates, and we got some powerhouses in here, a lot of great content creators. Definitely check out each and every one of these guys, and the chat's been pretty awesome. But sorry I have to go early, but you can find me on FC Space Violent, on Twitter, on YouTube. I host a show right before Boom's at 7 p.m. Check mine out first, and then go to Boom later. Vitamin G Gaming Podcast at 7. I'm an Xbox guy, but my panel members, I think you probably know him. Creative Kofi's a PlayStation dude.
Yes, he is.
He's been on a couple PlayStation podcasts and Saltiest Gaming as well. Real good, and we got some PC guys, Nintendo dudes. So it's like a round table of game. That's all we do. We just talk games, and then I do weekly videos as well. Right? I think last week I talked about Obsidian's game, a little bit more in detail in that. Definitely check that out on my channel if you're interested in more deep dives on developers. What's like behind the scenes and things of that nature. I'll be doing a preview of XO19 for next week as well. I think I'll do that tomorrow. So definitely check it out. Anyway, I appreciate it, guys. I have to go. I'm sorry. And remember, I paused my game to be here. And like Shady says, man, as long as you enjoy the game, man, just keep it gaming. And I'm going to catch y'all later, man. Be easy.
Thanks again for being here. Definitely appreciate that very much. Thank you so much for being here, as always, dude. King David, I want to go to you, get you on out of here. You've had your statue spinning around in the background. Mrs. Boomstick really tunes in to every King of Statue episode because she's a big fan, especially a lot of the 80s stuff. Like the Aquaman you had a couple of, I believe 2 months ago. That's her Aquaman. You know, blonde hair, orange top, green pants. So talking to the fish. That's her old school. If you remember the Wonder Twin powers activate. That's her Justice
Jason
League.
Momoa crap.
But you have a lot going on. First of all, I want to thank Graphic God, who has been in the chat pretty much the whole episode. If you don't know who he is, he does have an incredible website. I think everyone should check out. If you're a content creator looking for, artwork done in a professional manner, you can check out xboxgamerpicks.com. He actually just did an incredible shirt for the Iron Lords. King, I want you to talk about that because I am going to order that shirt because I love Phil Dominus, Maximus Spencer, and I think that shirt is freaking mint. And talk about that. Talk about your incredible King of Statues, but more importantly, talk about the Iron Lords podcast, where every Sunday you guys seem to be breaking more and more records.
Well, we're very fortunate to, that people look at us and say, "Oh, that's kind of cool." I like to tune in and listen to what they have to say. We are a gaming agnostic podcast, Iron Lords podcast, where what that means is we game everywhere on everything. It's not just one thing. I may like Xbox, but I'm a realist, and I love Sony too, and I love Nintendo as well. I love old school gaming as well. Also love my statues. As you can see, there's He-Man and Skeletor in the background. He-Man is the next man up on KOS. That's King of the Statues. That's on Iron Lords podcast YouTube channel, and it's also at lordsofgaming.net. Graphic Gods. Let me tell you something, man. This guy is phenomenal. His level of professionalism and his art eye is incredible. Like Boom said, in conjunction with the Lords, he put together the P Dominus Maximus S shirt for the Iron Lords, and that's available in our Teespring store. You can go to any one of the Lords on Twitter. You can look into our bios, and the Teespring store is there, or you can go to Teespring itself and just pull it up and put in the Iron Lords podcast, and you would see the lines of shirts that we do have. We have more shirts in the pipeline that's coming out, more t-shirts, mugs, cups, everything. We have leggings, stuff like that. Everything that you can wear, we actually sell it. We'll be having coats and jackets and stuff like that later on. But we have more stuff that we're going to be announcing, especially with Graphic God. Listen, I love his work. He's a new lord in the realm. We have our art staff, and apart with Sean LeBray and Dinero Pinero, we have a fantastic staff. So it's all due to you guys, the Patreon, the subscribers. It's just mind blowing to me. Meeting Boom, meeting Big Gaming, Shady. This stuff is incredible to me, to be honest with you. I do look at people on the web. I do look at Dela. I do look at Rand. I do look at Colt. I do watch these videos, and to be in the same circumference with these individuals is just breathtaking to me. And to even be mentioned by these guys is just incredible. It is every day is a new journey. And anytime Boom needs me in my second home, because Boom in the morning is my second home. I wish I could stay up at night to be on that topic on Monday. I'm having FOMO right now, and Monday's not even here. But thank you guys, and I do appreciate everybody that tuned in, everybody that donated, everybody that is even a part of the chat, because without you guys, none of this stuff happens.
That is correct. Great point.
Thank you guys.
Well, thanks so much again for being here, King. As always, love having you on the show. So, Shady, I want to go to you next because I think you're going to probably have to get some sleep. You've been pulling an all-nighter, and I think that you're probably on your 5th cup of coffee or whatever you use to keep yourself up. You are a regular panel member, and we love having you. In fact, you're on 2 of the big shows that I have weekly, being Breakfast with Boom, Primetime Gaming, which, by the way, folks, if you didn't know, broke ridiculous numbers where we had 628 people live in the chat last Monday evening. It still blows my mind. We just crossed 4,000 views, and I only have 2,800 subs. So I don't know what the H is going on, but I love it. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in for that, because 4,000 views on anything on YouTube, as big as it is amazing, especially in the live content. So, Shady, do me a favor, tell everyone where they can follow you, check out you on Twitter, and more importantly, maybe possibly team up with you on some online shenanigans where your gamer tags are involved.
Sounds good, Boom. As always, it's been an absolute honor to be here, share my gaming thoughts with the panel that you bring together every week. It's been awesome, guys. Thanks for listening to my rants, my raven, everyone that showed up this morning. Thank you for coming out. Again, listening to us talk games. Without you, it's just us talking games, which I'm totally down with, but it is so much more enjoyable when there's people listening and interacting in the chat, and this community is it's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So I am So Shady on Twitter, at the Sesh Empire. That is one word. Join me on there. I try to be active, but I'm also toning it down a little bit. I get myself into a bit of trouble, slamming fanboys left and right, and it just goes on for too long. It eats up so much time, and that's not what I'm in this community for. It's not. I'm here to share my passion for gaming, not constantly correct ignorance or try and just tone down out of control zealotry, man. Some people accuse me of being a zealot. I am a huge Xbox fan, but above all that, I'm a huge gamer. I have all of the consoles. That's that. I game on everything, and I have since the 80s, man. So it is what it is. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I am here every single Friday morning, Breakfast with Boom, and then Monday evenings on our newer show, Primetime Gaming. As you said, we had 630 watching live. It has been insanely humbling and incredible to watch the show just grow week after week after week. Everyone that shows up to both programs, thank you so much again. You guys power these things, man. Leave a comment after the show. Let me know if I'm crazy. Let anyone else know on the show if they're right. Whatever you got to have, any type of interaction on these channels really does help with Google being like, oh, people are watching, people are interacting, whether you're upvoting it, downvoting it, you're sharing it out, anything helps. It's awesome. It's appreciated. We hope to see you all again really soon. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Happy gaming.
Thanks again. Thanks for being here. BitCloud Gaming, let's get you on out of here, brother. You got a lot going on. You got a big time guest coming, which was announced on this show. That's a big get, dude. And that means that not only are you legitimate, but people respect you and your opinion, and you are over 5,000 subs on YouTube, and that is no easy feat. So do me a favor, tell everyone where they can head over to your channel, give that a sub, and check you out on Twitter.
Yeah, first of all, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to King David and FC Violent, obviously everybody else on the panel. It's good talking to y'all, obviously. I will say this to Mr. Gio Corsi. He's going to be here on Thanksgiving, I think.
Wow, that's a big get, dude. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. Now, you already know the channel's going through some big changes. More stuff's happening. I'm going to be reviewing games and whatnot. So that's everything that's going to be happening. But you guys can find me on Twitter at Big Cloud Gaming, same name, same avatar, as well as YouTube at the exact same name, Big Cloud Gaming. I will be live today with the crew, 5 p.m. Eastern time for the RGT podcast. If you guys want to join us, it would be awesome to have you guys in the chat to join us for the show, because we're gonna have a lot to talk about, definitely. But thank you guys so much. Again, you guys, without you guys, none of this is possible, and it's because of you guys. Hell, you brought us all together. So thank you.
Well, that's actually a great point, and I really want to reiterate on that, folks. You got to understand, we love talking about games. We love having you guys in the chat, and we would not be content creators without this community. I don't think that's said enough. I think it was said today by King David, by FC Violent, by BitCloud, by Shady, and of course, Forte is going to come into the fold right now. But it is why we do it. It's why we have channels and why we even have voices in this community. It's because everyone comes out and supports us. So we're always going to be grateful for that. Forte, first of all, thank goodness that you got your voice back, because my God, you're an important part of Primetime Gaming. You're an important part of Luca's incredible channel. And you're also a major cog in the BRAP, Basement Radio Arcade podcast, each and every week, even though that you seem to fight more with Enrique than you used to with Slow-Mo. So I don't know what's going on, but different opinions bring different outcomes. So I'm always happy to listen to that and be a part of that. But do me a favor. You have an incredible Twitter handle as well, because you're always putting out motivational videos. We love that. But you also have an incredible YouTube channel. Tell everyone where they can find you and subscribe and check you out on Twitter.
Oh yeah, man. We made it through a podcast, people. Woo! I know I'm officially good now. Not worried no more. So no, first of all thanks goes to everybody in the chat. You guys make this possible. You listening to us ramble about video games is a humbling experience, just to know that there's people that want to know what our opinions are, and I deeply appreciate that. I thank Shady, BitCloud, and Boom for just being here, because I just love the conversations that we all have together with each other. But overall, Gaming Forte on YouTube and Twitter. Got a couple of things going on, especially on the YouTube channel going up over the weekend. Going to start putting some stuff back up on Twitter, just because I've been kind of not want to go on camera because my wife has me going through this no shave November, so I look like a freaking Bigfoot right now. So, but she officially told me yesterday, she's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna let you cut your beard." So yeah, I'm taking care of that today, because I'm sorry if anybody has grown a beard from not having one. It itches like
I'm not a fan. And plus, Mrs. Boomstick is like, you better shave your beard if you want to kiss this face. So,
right. So that's
start going super fast like a werewolf. Trust me.
Right. So that's stuff coming back. But overall, guys, I really appreciate the show. Show's been amazing. We got even more stuff for you on Prime Time on Monday. So make sure you tune in for that. And like I said, thanks again, Boone. You always do a great job with the shows.
I appreciate it very much. Yeah, thank you for the compliment. Yeah, listen, I'm just throwing this out there now. We still have 109 people still here listening. If you thought last week's Primetime Gaming was big, I've already started writing the show since last night. I actually couldn't sleep, and because I had so many things I wanted to get on paper before I forgot. It is going to be one of the biggest shows in regards to topics, real, like topics that we're going to discuss like adults, and hopefully everyone will join in the same way they did the week before, because those numbers were ridiculous. I don't know how it happened. Yes. But all I can say is thank you from the bottom of my heart, because those are RDX type numbers. Those are the Xbox 2 with Randall Thor and Jez Corden numbers. I've never seen anything. Those are like Crossfire numbers. I've never seen anything like it, and I am very grateful for it. So hopefully everyone comes back and tunes in the same way they did last Monday, because you're gonna get a powerful show. But I want to wish everyone a great weekend. Enjoy gaming. Treat others how you want to be treated. And just remember this. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. And I guarantee you live by those rules, and you're going to have an awesome day, guaranteed. Take care, everyone. Thanks again for the super chats. Thanks again for the outstanding comments in the chat, and we will see you Monday evening on the new episode and more powerful episode of Primetime Gaming, and we'll see you back here next Friday on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom. Take care, everyone.